Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Otter Talk for the Blue Otter Draft League. As always, I am your host, Noctisera. With me producing is Wookie Monster, and tonight we have three guests. We have T-Wayne,
What's up, everyone?
Molly Wops,
Hello.
and the one and only Crab Dabadoo.
You know it.
So tonight's match we have should be an interesting one, not as interesting as maybe some of our previous week's matches, but we do have the Wolves versus the Shrooms. Both teams doing quite well right now. The Wolves currently sitting at 2-0, the Shrooms sitting at 1-1, but both having won their first week matches and doing quite well for the remainder of the league. We can go over to some head-to-head stats just to see just exactly how they're doing. So we have a couple of these players right now. We have the support for the Wolves, Nidian, also known as Chime, some people. And of course, we have Buzzy Please, the jungler for the Shrooms. We can see, I think... All right, okay.
What's going on with that KP?
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of an issue with the stats, so I think actually let's cut it over real quick to let's go to match predictions for Sapphire real quick. We can go talk about these teams when we get to them in the match predictions. Currently we have I'd say pretty interesting matchups across the board, fairly well-rounded, but we do have a couple of polarizing opinions here. Let's start out with the featured match of the week. We have the Wolves versus the Shrooms. It seems like a couple people are in agreement about the Wolves looking good, but Crab, why do you think the Shrooms are looking better this week?
I think it's less about the Shrooms being good, and I just think the Wolves are more fraudulent than their record shows. I think that team is like a middle-of-the-pack team, and I think if I recall, Shrooms beat Pickles last week, who I think is not a good team, but I think they pulled one game off of somebody week one. I think it was at the Astronauts. Or no, it was somebody relevant week one. And I think they could pull off, I guess you want to call it an upset here, but I just think the Wolves are a fraudulent team.
I mean, the Wolves and the Shrooms have both had a bit of an easier track so far, haven't really played against a lot of the top teams. It is still early on, so I can definitely see what you mean there. I would say I could definitely see the Shrooms still winning. Even if I do think the Wolves are a little bit more cohesive as a unit, I think the Shrooms definitely have a couple players that can easily pull out some upsets or some interesting plays. Frisky MMO definitely a carry that we've seen pull off some pretty insane plays from time to time, and if they can pop off tonight, I think they definitely have a chance. On the other hand, we have two matches that I think a lot of people assumed would be pretty one-sided. T-Wayne, you do not believe so. I think the Pickles and the Eagles over the Spuds and the Colonels.
Okay, so I can't, of course it is my team. So I have to stick with my team on decision factor. I am very confident going in for tonight. Picking up, even though we're on 0-2 loss streak right now, picking up that win against the Frog, or at least that one win against the Frogs previous week. I mean, it gave us a little bit of a confidence boost. And then duoing and doing some flex games with the team throughout the week. I feel like that our bonding has gotten better. Gameplay has also gotten better. Practice new champs, and so I feel pretty confident for us going in to this week. So just don't underestimate us, I guess.
That we won't. I would say I definitely expected at least the Eagles response from you. What about the Pickles? That's a team that a lot of people have sort of had on the lower end of their spectrum, usually as like a bottom three team, but you have them beating the Spuds, which a lot of people view as a pretty consistent team, if not top, at least middle of the pack.
So I picked this as my. I'm just gonna say that I picked this as the upset of the week kind of thing. The reason why I picked this as the upset of the week kind of deal is because I'll give it the Spuds here, where they are 2-0, but they've had two teams not really, would say, at the top of the board. They faced Predators they faced us week one, and yeah, we did not show up to perform at all. Week two, they faced the Predators, and they also 2-0'd them. And again, I think was also not a top tier team right now. I feel like they've been just hitting the bottom of the list a lot. They haven't really given a challenge. But honestly, you never know. So I'm gonna say this could be a 3-game match today. I mean, I honestly put down a lot of stuff for 3 games going in today. So
All right, and yeah, speaking of the Predators, we actually have. Well, I know why Molly would pick Frogs. A little bit of team bias, but the Frogs have been performing very well. Yet, Crab, you have the Predators performing over them. Is it perhaps their previous performance? You've seen some upsets that you feel they are a bit stronger than perhaps people give them credit for?
Well, they just got Fallen, and if you look at my hot take, I think both teams in that trade dramatically improve. So I think it may take a week, maybe not this week, but I think they will perform well this week. But it may take a little bit more cohesion, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did lose. But I'm pulling for an upset here. So I think Tonti could be one of the best top laners in the league if he stops running it down. And Fallen's a good jungler. It just, as long as their bot lane can stay supportive and not sprint it, and then they can play around top, they could be looking at something pretty good here.
Yeah, and that's something we can get into. A lot of people, a lot of you guys have been talking and seeing about a little bit of hot takes. Yeah, we had one of our first really big drafts of the season. I know from a little bit of info that there was a couple players being looked at, but we do have the Colonels trading Necro for Fallen. The Predators getting Fallen, who was the previous jungler on the Colonels, after a not great performance in week 2. And Colonel's getting Necro, swapping Crab. You are now in jungle. Kaz is going support, and Necro to the top lane. So a lot of swaps. You still confident in everything, given all those swaps?
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, based on last season, I didn't play last season, but I heard that Kaz was almost the MVP of the league playing support, so he's back down there. Necker can kind of play it all in top lanes, so that works for me. And I'm pretty sure, not to boast or anything or stroke my own ego, but I'm pretty sure I'm the highest ranked player in lower. So putting me in a more macro intensive role where I can, kind of play my own game and do what I want should work out well for us.
All right. Well, good luck to both of our players tonight, Crab and T-Wayne, in their match. And the last one we have tonight is in the Ruby division, which is where all of our guests are from. So a little bit more expertise. We have the Astronauts versus the Gorillas. This one seems pretty split. Quite honestly, I know, Molly, you think that Gorillas have the making of a top tier team. If they can focus, and it seems like it seems like you think that maybe the Astronauts just have a bit more cohesion.
Yeah, I think Defoe as a captain could kind of get the team rallied together a little better than Lizzo, especially after the bonfire that was week 1 for Lizzo. Their team is probably still trying to fix a few fences for themselves. But ultimately, I think the game could go either way, but I'm gonna give the edge to Defoe and his team.
And I'd imagine what we see, Crab, you did play against the Gorillas last week, and you do have them winning over Astronauts. Is there anything specific that impressed you last week when they took that game, or?
Not particularly last week. I just know they're all kind of on high tension right now, so I think they're gonna really try to bring it their all, and it's gonna come down to well, I know ADHD is gone, so it's gonna come down to if their new support can handle the mental beatdown that their ADC will give them, and during the game, and I think if he can handle it, then they'll win, and if he can't, then it may go both ways.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think right now we're going to look very quickly at our Sapphire match predictions. I know none of our players are in Sapphire, but this should give a little bit of a look into what people are thinking. If they've watched the matches, if they have anything. Seems like everyone's kind of in agreement for Valkyries. Seems like one of the more one-sided matches of the night. T-Wayne, you have the Raiders winning over the Gamblers, though. That's definitely an interesting one, given that a lot of people have said the Gamblers are the top team in Sapphire.
they are. I do have them. No matter of fact, they are. I will actually be honest. This is actually mistyped for me because I'm looking at my notes for everything. I actually have them mistyped as for when I put actually how many games I think it's going to be going. Instead of saying 0-2, I actually should have put 2-0 for gamblers. That is a mistake by
Okay.
me, but I am sorry because that affects my power rankings as well. So I mean that it makes absolutely no sense at all.
All right. Well, yeah. It seems like it's a. All right, bit of a typo, but yeah, it looks like everyone is in agreement on Valkyries and Gamblers. Then, to the surprise of not many who watch Sapphire, these are more of the one-sided matchups. This next one is a bit interesting. I think it is going to be a lot more even. I think the Ronin have shown a bit better potential. But Crab, do you have any players on the Kittens or anyone that you're watching that makes you think this? Maybe you think they play better as a unit, or
I really have nothing. I just think that both of these teams are kind of middle of the pack. I think it could go either way. I think Ruffian and Cyclic have been playing together for a long time. So, if they can hone it in and, return to their glory days, as one could say, then they could pull out a win.
all right. And yeah, the rest of the things, I will say, I think Wizards Typhoons, Molly, you are the odd man out, but I was thinking about putting Typhoons there as well. I think that's a very even match that I think a lot of people um, understand could go either way.
Yeah,
That both
I went
teams are
back and
playing very
forth.
well. This one as more of a storm, though. At the bottom of the league, we have what most people put as the bottom two teams, the Dragons and the Cheesers. T-Wayne, is there any reason you have the Dragons over the Cheesers, or is it just
Yep.
placement
Okay,
standings?
so the only reason I have the Cheesers losing to the Dragons is because I think the Cheesers or it's just the Dragons got at least a game off of the Valkyries. That's compared to what the Cheesers went through with the Typhoons and the Valkyries. They didn't get a game at all, hence why they're 0-4. I think Dragons can at least pull a little bit off of an edge on that. That's why I'm giving that little bit of an edge to the Dragons for at least this coming up match. I have them going 3 games, but again, I'm gonna say Dragons have that little bit of an edge. They might know something or they hide something in that sleeve of theirs that they're just gonna pull it out.
Interesting, especially knowing that the Cheesers have interesting tactics, is what we'll call them, given that they tried to pull out the Gwen bot lane last week. Unfortunately, did not work out for them. But hey, them's the breaks. Sometimes you thought you had something, but you ended up burning down the kitchen. Let's move into our standings predictions. Who we think is at the top of the league, at the bottom of the league for Ruby. Okay, never mind. I guess we're doing Sapphire first. Oh, okay, there we are. Yeah, a little bit of slide issue. So, I think for a lot of people, most can understand these, but you guys are in the league, so you tell me. Is there anything that sticks out to you that people might believe is out of the ordinary? I know we can see Pickles a bit towards the bottom on most people's tier lists. Man, Eagles as well. T-Wayne, no confidence, or what's going on here?
I mean, I'm gonna hope that I'm hoping, like I said, with all this improvement this week, I'm hoping that if we with this win against Colonels, hopefully tonight, I feel like we can put us back into, I would say, a top 5 team. I mean, we've had a struggle with the Frogs and the Spuds, but like I said, taking at least that game from the Frogs, I feel like us putting in as a top 5 team after this tonight would be good. Would be a better boost for us, I should say.
Yeah, and I mean, again, with multiple teams, we can see. I think most people's top 3s are fairly similar. Molly, I think you have the Astronauts a bit higher than most people, but I don't think that's that much out of the ordinary. Crab, it looks like your team has been knocked down a peg compared to prior weeks. I know a lot of people had you as either the second or the top team so far. Now, looking at number 3, are you looking to reclaim that spot, or do you think that other teams are just have a little bit of an edge?
I don't think other teams have an edge. I think we got better with the trade, like I said. So I think it's just gonna, take time for people to recognize that. But that's okay. I mean, I'm not in a hurry. Playoffs aren't for a while, so
And you think you're making playoffs?
I think so. I think our team got a lot better. I don't think we were a bad team to begin with. I think we were probably middle of the pack, 4th, 5th, but I think when we got Necro now and moved everybody around, I think we're vying for a top 3 spot there easily.
All right. And lastly, I know that this is one of the more controversial teams is the Gorillas and Predators. Both seem to have had a very volatile first couple weeks, but it seems both have been moving up, I think, on a lot of people's tier lists. But Molly and T-Wayne, you guys feel that Predators maybe haven't gotten a bit better with that trade, or maybe that the first couple weeks just haven't had a very impressive showing?
I'll let Molly go first.
Yeah, I don't think the Predators have shown maybe what they can fully do, whereas the Gorillas, I will say this much, from Colonels down to the Eagles, I think the Eagles are actually a very solid team, and that whole middle placement there could all be very different from where they are. So I think the Eagles could very well take 4th place. I think the Gorillas could easily take 4th place. I haven't seen this new Colonels team yet. Nobody has. So, you know, if they show up tonight, obviously it changes how the standings look, but as of right now, this is where it is. And the Predators, I think, need to show up.
See, I can agree with Molly as well in this. I mean, with this being the first trade of the this season, we can't say what to expect from the Colonels and the Predators, because we don't know how these new teammates are going to adapt. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? I mean, I've heard great stuff about Fallen. I've heard bad stuff about Fallen. I've heard good stuff about Necro. I've heard bad stuff about Necro. It can go either way. It's just all going to come down to how does the team collapse with that new teammate of theirs. It's not. It's just, is it going to connect properly, or is it just going to fall apart?
All right. Seems like all of our players are a bit hyped up for tonight, thinking that tonight's really going to be, I think, make or break for a lot of people's opinions on the teams, at least going into the next couple weeks. I think this week will solidify a lot of people's opinions, especially down in Ruby. As far as Sapphire, I know we're a little bit more one-sided, but we can at least look at our power rankings for those. Seems like most people have fairly similar spots. Looks like there's a bit of a miscalculation. I do have Valkyries, I believe, is my first slot. It looks like there's a couple changes. Anyway, as far as you guys, everyone has Typhoons in the second spot. I'll let all of you speak on this, but I know some people don't have Typhoons as high, but everyone here seems to think that they are exactly the second place team, no higher, no lower.
So I'll say from going off of the first 2 games, Typhoons did a 2-0 on the Cheesers and a 2-1 on the Spades. Valkyries did a 2-1 on the Dragons and a 2-0 on the Cheesers. So basically, it goes back to looking at also stats wise as well. I'm looking at the Typhoons on the stats, and I mean their guys are just stacking up there in the top 10. I mean they're showing that they're meaning to they're there to play. And I'm honestly hyped to see when the 2 teams clash, the 2 Titans, the Gamblers and the Typhoons. I feel like those are the Titans of this league. So that is my opinion.
Molly, you go.
Anyone?
Yeah, I think the top 4 teams, you know, could be placed in any of the top 4 positions. It was very difficult ranking any of these 4 teams. But ultimately, it just comes down to what kind of players you get that night. You know, I know the top lane, the top side of the map of Rain and Ixie on the Typhoons. They could be an absolute powerhouse together. But at the same time, you know, like every other player, they could just drop the ball and be piss useless, right? Same goes with, you know, your split pusher in Dason. He could show up and be an absolute menace, or he could just be a walking ward. It all comes down to what kind of players show up at the time, right? So it was very hard placing the top 4 teams for me. But the rest of the standings, you know, it's hard for me to comment on that. I haven't been watching the rest of the players on these teams.
Right. Crab, would you like to go?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, the top four are kind of interchangeable on my list. I think it's like sections. It's like the top four, then the next two, and then the rest of them, the bottom four. I think there's a very steep drop off between those cutoffs. But I think it's just gonna come down to the Typhoons play the Wizards tonight, right? I'm not going crazy. Yeah, okay. I think it's gonna come down to in that game. I think it's gonna just be whatever top laner wins, because both of their strengths lie in the top lane. So we'll see what happens from there. But I think the top four are kind of interchangeable in my opinion.
All right. I will say, yeah, it looks like there was a bit of a typo. I actually have Valkyries first and Ronin third, so a little bit of a change there. But I think for most people, I think these rankings are about where people expect. T1 and Molly, you actually have dragons a bit higher, I think, than a lot of people, especially T1. You have them all the way up in fourth, where I think a lot of people have them as at least a bottom 2 or 3 team.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just look at the stats for the past 2 games with the Dragons. I give them, I guess, too much. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit since they took that game off of the Valkyries. I mean, the Raiders took a game off the Wizards. The Spades took one off of the Typhoons. I mean, I guess I could maybe swap those 3 around. But you know, it's just all a matter of, I guess, what is there more to come. I guess it's maybe this game tonight will decide what we're doing.
All right. Well, thank you all. For right now, that has been Krabadabadoo, Mollywops, and of course T-Wayne. I have been Noctisera, your host, as always, and Wookie Monster as our producer. Thank you all for watching. Tonight we have the Wolves versus the Shrooms coming up in about 20 minutes, give or take. Hope you'll all join us for that match. And thank you all for being here. Have a great night.
The studio alone. 強く強く輝いて消えた流れ星ほら命が燃える何かに怯え走り続けたその虚しさのしじなに何を見て何を探してきた自分の声がただ響く幾千万の星の中で惹かれて出会った守り手たちよ回る回る時の輪の中で自分の弱さ強さの先に同じ空誰かが見上げてるそう信じて消されない虹の奇跡が届けと冷たい指で涙拭ったあの日にはもう帰れない水平線目指して飛び立つ自分の願いを抱いて幾千万の星に呼ばれ交わりすれ違う守り手たちよ回る回る時に抗って未来を願ってもいいですか儚さから目をそらし手繰り寄せる道の兆しの向こうかける希望あなたの光あなたの命いたずらに知らさないようにそっとくれた記憶胸に熱く灯し約束の地へもう繰り返らずに恋願う歌は空高く世界に銀河に広がってくそれがいつか風となり消えて新たな日が始まる越えてゆく時の輪の中で確かに刻みつけたきらめき同じ空誰かが見上げてる信じたから消されない虹の奇
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Otter Draft League tonight. Our featured match, the Wolves versus the Shrooms. Both with a rather interesting first 2 weeks, both having something to prove. We will get right into draft. Bans already out. The Shen first pick locked in for the Shrooms.
Yeah, I think that Shen ban seems to be both a flexible pick, but really a targeted pick away from the Wolves. Seeing that Low Point did play 2 Shen games last week, I think that's a bit of a way to just get that pick away from Low Point. And we see the Jinx coming in for the Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Lil Poink does have hashtag Shen as his Riot ID, so
Okay, that explains it then.
I would imagine that they would like this player to be on the Shen. Meanwhile, the Wolves answering back that classic Jinx and possibly a Camille would be quite interesting.
Yeah,
Something
I
that
think
would
they're
happen
kind
a
of
lot.
assuming that the Shen is going topside, so they're going to get countered here, and they end up picking the Ornn. I think that's not too bad. I would say on the Wolf side, you would want to pick support last, it seems. I did take a look at the match history, and it seems like their support kind of plays some interesting picks.
A little bit of everything too. Stone Kit Kat definitely one of those flexible players and can definitely be used to round out a comp quite interestingly. I would imagine that this Ornn could be going number of locations actually. You know, obviously, you think just matching it into the Shen top lane is definitely a viable option. I would not be surprised if it's also Ornn support given Stone Kit Kat and their unique picks to say the least. And it looks like we're just gonna have the Caitlyn locked in for the Shroom, something that we see a bit out of occasionally, but not. Recently, it's been catching a little bit of attention, mostly because of some nerfs, some buffs, some complaining on Twitter. The
Yeah.
classic.
And we do see them rounding the round 1 picks with that jungle pick and Lilia. I think the Wolves will respond with a jungle pick of their own. Wow, a lot more flexible picks with Gwen being selected here. Do you think this Gwen is going jungle?
I think it's definitely an option. I think the way we're looking at it, right, Little Point definitely does play a bit of the Ornn, but Discord Snuggles is known to play Gwen. Does have quite a bit of that Gwungle gameplay in their match history that we've seen a bit of, and that has been popping off a bit more recently. So I'd imagine that this isn't as much of a flex as it would seem. I'd imagine they definitely want this in the jungle, especially into something like the Lilia.
Okay, so we have Zed bans, Seraphine bans, I think really targeted at these mid players. We'll see who will select for their next ban, and it looks like it'll be the Yoni. That makes sense, getting rid of all the AD mid picks, seeing that Lilia and Shen being locked. I think they do need some AD in the mid lane here. What do you think would be the pick? Wise choice for the Wolves here.
I think the Wolves are really looking to probably, I'd say lock in a mid laner here if you're the Wolves. I think the big thought process going into this is, can we flex it? But no, it looks like they just want to get counter pick. Possibly flex. We have seen the Ornn mid come out once or twice in the past couple draft leagues. Has been something we've seen, especially into things like the Yone, which are quite prominent right now. But it is just going to be the Realm locked in. Something that we've seen a lot out of draft league teams. Teams really love this Realm. Less coordinated teams that maybe don't have the strength of team fight can usually find it really hard to get past. But given the melee-oriented team comp, we're going to see a Taric locked in. Very good with the Lilia, very good with the Shen, very good with champions that love to just stay in there. Champions that you can hit a lot, you just spam Q. It's very hard to deal with when you have all that healing fights. And the Swain rounding out the draft.
Yeah, I feel like the Worlds has inspired people to pick some of these champs. We'll see if it pays off for the Shrooms as the Wolves finally have to kind of make a commitment here and kind of show where every champ is going. This hover over Hui is saying that Gwen, I guess Gwen and Ornn still can be flex, right? Because Ornn could go jungle, although that's much rarer nowadays.
Yeah. And it looks like the Hui rounding out the Wolves comp. So the Wolves, fairly standard comp, all things considered. decent front line. You got the Gwen. Yeah, the roles are a bit different, right? Instead of something like maybe the Gwen top and that Sejuani, you have the Ornn in top and the Gwen in the jungle. But this sort of core standard team comp of a bruiser plus some tanks, you run a hyper carry, the Jinx, the Zeri, something we've seen, the Hui, also something that we've seen quite a lot of. The Shrooms, meanwhile, going for a much more brawl-oriented comp, right? Caitlyn really being their only very long range, good at sniping people out, but you already have the Swain, the Shen, the Lilia, the Taric, all champions that really like to be clumped up, like to go in and just hit you in the face. And if you are able to kite them out, if you have that range, very, very hard for them to get in.
Yeah, it seems like both teams do kind of want to fight in close quarters here. I will say though that the Shrooms do lack hard engage. Sure, there's the Swain pull and the Taric stun, but it's going to be really hard for them to start the fight. So I think they might know that, and they're kind of relying on the Wolves to start the fight, right? We have the Ornn ultimate, the Braum ultimate, the Hui ultimate. Really lots of options to engage and lock onto the members of the Shrooms. I think the Shrooms are more than happy for that to happen. Hopefully survive that initial front, and then kind of wait for an extended a fight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's going to be on the Wolves to sort of try and dictate the pace of this game, keep their space. Because if the Shrooms ever get in, they're able to get that big Lilia ult off. I think fight should be relatively easy to win after that. That being said, I think we are going to cut it to a short break. When we come back, we will jump in for Game 1. Don't go anywhere.
強く強く輝いて消えた流れ星ほら命が燃える何かに怯え走り続けたその虚しさのしじなに何を見て何を探してきた自分の声がただ響く幾千万の星の中で惹かれて出会った守り手たちよ回る回る時の輪の中で自分の弱さ強さの先に同じ空誰かが見上げてるそう信じて消されない虹の奇跡が届けと冷たい指で涙拭ったあの日にはもう帰れない
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Otter Draft League in-game for Game 1 of the Shrooms versus the Wolves. We have some interesting picks. We have the Gwongle coming out, I think making its debut in the Draft League today. You can see a little bit of an invade spotted out. Buzzy Please
Whoa.
was not paying attention.
Nope, not at all. Especially as you can tell that the Swain was mid, saw like multiple players, and Bussy Please still kind of walking.
Swing got a
towards
stack.
that.
Swing got a stack. I think it's all the tech. I think they looked at it. They're like, Bussy, use their flash. Oopop gets a stack out of this. Easy.
Yeah.
That's
Looking
like a third of
at
a health potion right there.
yeah, looking at summoner spells, seems pretty standard. We do have the ghost on Gwen. We also see the what's that keystone called? The one on Caitlyn. First Strike making an appearance on Caitlyn as well.
Yeah. So could be lethality. Could just be looking to get some extra poke down in lane. Maybe advance their gold a little bit.
Yeah,
Everything
a
else,
little
yeah,
hard,
pretty standard.
yeah, a little hard to tell right now. We'll see what Frisky opts to buy with their first item, as we do see the Wolves kind of hiding there, trying to get that level 1 advantage.
Yeah, getting a little bit of poke, and thanks to that Guardian, you could see them just winning out on that trade a little bit. I think as Stone Kickette gets some levels, though, it'll be a little bit better, especially once you get that W and the Q on Tarek. You can
Yeah.
sustain a very, very long time, and with Caitlyn backing you up, it's going to be really hard to win out on these trades.
Yeah, we do see both bot laners trying to get the level 2 first. I think Shrooms might get it first, as we do see a level 2 advantage by Sloppy Puma.
Yeah, going for it, trying to find a little bit, but we said once that Terra gets the shield, it's kind of hard to do anything. Nidion being stunned up now, for Skimmo trying to trade back, but Macho is the one getting the damage. Nice little shock pistol there, bringing Frisky down to about 30%. Forced to pop those potions and back off a little bit. A little bit of trading in the mid lane. You can see the Gwen up top, looking forward. Sloppy Puma dashed in, now it's Little Plink going, trying to chase him down, but Discord Snuggles does have that red buff, trying to slow Sloppy Puma, has popped the Ghost already, looking for the extra damage with that Q. Snip, snip, will not snip anyone here. Sloppy Puma flashing out with his life.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit of a close call for Discord Snuggles there, as we do see the Tarek going in against this Jinx.
Yeah, goes in, lands the stun on Macho, but Nidion just walks up with that shield, says, you are not going to hit my ADC, and there's nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, in mid, Oopop going forward, flashing, getting the Q, needs one more, but it's just going to be an auto, taking out Ethereal Ice, a trade for trade in the mid lane. Nice route there by Oopop.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the lane was going. We do see that Ethereal Ice had Meteor, so I'm kind of surprised that they lost the trade in the early stages of the early game.
Yeah, I think once you get rooted in, you eat a full combo, maybe some extra minion damage. It can be a little bit rough. Swain also pretty decent base AD, so I'm not too surprised that the all-in ended in a kill, but yeah, Ethereal Ice, maybe a little bit aggressive there. Went on the top
Yeah.
side, Lil Poink. Getting low, you can see Slippy Puma wants to dash in, try and get something there, but Lil Poink does not want to give them the opportunity.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like this game has been full of action. It's only been 4 minutes. I feel like all lanes have been trading pretty consistently.
Yeah, you can see both teams just really fighting for an advantage, trying to get something. Currently, the only something to be gotten is the flash on the top side and Oopop with the kill early on. But I can imagine teams trying to get a little bit more out relatively shortly. For MMO, you can see back to reasonable HP thanks to that Taric, thanks to those health potions. But I'd imagine with Discord Snuggles down here, that maybe a gank comes out, especially if they end up shoving in. The Caitlyn loves to be sort of under the enemy tower, sieging that, but looks like
Yeah.
Discord's just gonna go for a quick reset.
Yeah, they do have to give a little bit of respect. Not too much though, as Discord Snuggles Ghost is gone, so there's no way really to kind of engage with a gank. But they're respecting it. We do see Gwen just backing for a Fiendish Codex as the first item.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's the Malignance or Nashers.
Yeah, let me
know,
see. I think
No,
Codex was
it's not Nashers. Because Nashers
built-
is what is it? It's recurve bow, blasting wand, and a tome, or is it? Does the tome also build into a Fiendish Codex? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm looking at that what's the Omnivamp item called again? Riftmaker. I want to see
Oh,
if
Riftmaker could be.
builds out of that. It does.
Let me check Nashers.
But
real quick.
it also builds into Nashers too.
No, it is okay. So it does build. So I imagine that's a Nashers. I was
Yeah.
just a little bit delusional forgetting my item recipes real quick.
They updated a whole bunch recently, so
They did. Well, I do know that Malignance has been a buy that a lot of people are going for on Gwen, and there's that Electrocute builds where you go like the Lichbane Storm Surge and you try and nuke people down. So, but it does look like we're just going for a pretty standard Nashers here, which is quite common for a lot of people. The Dragon has spawned, so have the Void Grubs, and it does look like Nidian's going to be roaming up to the mid lane. Pussy Please should spot out Discord Snuggles relatively soon, and
now they know for sure
yeah.
she got caught from that ward up top, so they know she's on it.
Yeah, Pussy Please does have the ultimate 2 levels up right now, but Lil Poink used the Call of the Forge God, is up on Lil Poink in levels. Discord Snuggles trying to trade it out. The Braum jumps in, the Guardian just barely enough, but now Ethereal Ice Beam might be caught. Oopop there, trying to land the root. The damage is good, he will find it, but now it's Nidian onto Oopop, has no more flash. The dashes come in, Willstone Kit Kat be able to save it, but Sloppy Puma hits R just in time to stand united to give that extra little shield to Oopop, and it's going to be the Shrooms coming out on top of that fight. A 2-for-1 right now, trying to chase out Lil Poink and see if they can get maybe a little bit more damage, but they won't be able to. Sloppy Puma and Stone Kit Kat backing off. A little bit aggressive from the Wolves there, going for that early objective, not realizing Pussy Please is 2 levels up on Discord Snuggles right now. Now, probably not a full 2 levels, but still, level 4 while your opponent has their ultimate, even if you do have that Ornn ultimate in topside, Sloppy Puma could see didn't even roam down, just waited to get that stand united from the wave.
Yeah, kind of surprising though, because the Wolves did have Nidion roam top a little bit sooner. You'd think that they kind of would focus on a target, but the map was a little bit split there. I think Ornn was focusing more on the top side, and then we see them collapsing onto the Gwen earlier on.
Yeah, and you can see both top laners trading, but without Lil Poink having Call of the Forge God, there's no real kill threat. Sloppy Puma has been really good as well, using that Spirit's Refuge to dodge out on those extra brittle procs that it tends to be able to pull out for all that extra true damage. Now on the bot side, Pussy Please wrapped all the way around. It's going to be a flash forward from Stone Kit Kat. A good cleanse from Macho. Discord Snuggles here, finally joining the fight. They're trying to trade back, trying to get this damage down, but it's Frisky MMO with the ace in the hole, finding Macho as he leaves the fight. Now the last 2 members of the Wolves running for the hills, getting very low. The Eye of Nox is not going to land on Nidion. He's going to be able to escape with his life, but it's Pussy Please and the constant ganks from this Lilia putting the Shrooms ahead 5-1 and a dragon.
Yeah, I think Wolves need to slow the pace of the game down. They're trying to commit to these fights, but they're many levels behind, right? We still don't have the ultimate from Gwen, which arguably is one of the more important ultimates for her to fight in. And without that, I think they just need to slow down the pace.
Yeah, definitely. That Needle Storm just provides so much damage, and is really necessary, especially when you have these 3v3s, right? You need to get that damage down, but also, Macho was down 6, didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that, and Frisky and Mo was able to catch him right when he was leaving that fight, thought he was safe, but the ace in the hole, they had vision, they were able to collect that. And it's just really rough right now. You're already down, you know, 2.5, a little bit under 1,000 golds at the 9-minute mark, right? The Wolves are struggling right now. Thanks to that wave, it is only going to be about a 2,000 gold lead, but still, the Shrooms have full prio on the map. They have prio in mid, they have prio in bot. The top lane's a little bit different, but thanks to that stand united, you always have prio on top. It's going to be very, very hard for them to get back into this game.
Yeah, we do see the Lilia starting off the Krugs here, but she might be pincered if she... Nope, there's no engage coming from Wolves, and they're going to give away Grubs, which is a big plus. I thought that they would have an advantage here. Swain has no teleport, so can't really join. They can kind of mosey around here. Nope, they're just going to give it away to the Wolves.
Yeah, and usually doing this would risk, you know, the enemy being able to roam up and possibly get a 6 grub fight, but the Shrooms were able to steal that earlier grub from when Bussy Please was 2 levels up on Discord Snuggles, right? They had that that 1 grub in their back pocket, so they don't really need to worry right now. And if they get the rest of those grubs, they can still get one of those Void Mites, which is going to be very useful. Now, though, we'll fight in the bot lane. Nightion caught out going for a ward, but the stun comes out on Stone Kit Kat Macho, firing those rockets off for a good bit of damage, but with Nightion having no ultimate, Stone Kit Kat having that Cosmic Radiance unlocked now, it's going to be very hard for the Wolves to fight in the bot lane.
Yeah, and they still need to be aware of the Chenault. His ultimate is back up. We do see Swain fighting against this wave.
Yeah. Does still have the flash. Ethereal Ice Force to flash out as well. Discord Snuggles now. That bowling ball is going to miss, but Bussy Please comes in, dodges out on the rocket from Macho, and Sloppy Puma comes in with Stand United, uses that taunt, and gets the kill. And meanwhile, in the bot lane, that Cosmic Radiance goes in. Nightion falls. They're going for more. They want Macho under his tower. They want that ace, but they will not find it. Macho stays alive. Lilpoink pushes in the top side, but is just getting the spoils now. Only 20 CS up, you know, you do have a plate, but it's very hard when you can't match the Shen, especially when you don't have that unlocked TP. But speaking of
no.
TP, you sure wish you had it right now. Macho looking, getting dove by Bussy. They're going to give the kill over to Frisky MMO using that
no.
hole, but there is nothing that you can do. Shrooms with this relentless onslaught now, 4-0 on their Caitlyn, 3-0 on their mid laner, taking away the Grom, trying to steal away everything they can, take whatever they can from the Wolves, as the Wolves just try and fight back over a Gromp now. They're so far behind.
Yeah, and this Caitlyn is also building that lethality build, which means a lot of her spikes are gonna start coming up pretty soon, and all the gold is going into their the carries too. So it's looking a little dire for the Wolves.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's going to be the full lethality build, right? It could just be like the Collector Infinity Edge.
That's true. That's true.
Full AD crit that we've seen a lot of, especially if you land on those Ural Snap Traps. If Caitlyn is very far ahead, has Collector and IE, you take a ton of damage from those empowered headshots. And I'd imagine that's what we're going for, because she does have the attack speed.
That's true. I think if you were the Wolves, there's still an out with the ornaments coming online later in the game. You'll get Jinx and Hui also scaling. But how do you slow down the pace of this game?
Yeah, that's the real question. I think the big one is you're probably going to have to give that next drag. There's no real way to do it. You might even have to give the next one, but I would say trying to rotate people up, maybe get an advantageous Void Grub fight to make sure that they can't siege out these towers is going to be really important. Or to just give and be able to maintain some of these freezes that they're giving you. The biggest problem here, obviously, is that Sloppy Puma, as long as he has that Stand United, is going to be able to join whatever fight he wants. Speaking of fighting, we're going to use a Call of the Forge Cut up in that top lane. Lilpoink just using it for damage, and I think realizing that Sloppy Puma with that Heartsteel is definitely not going down anytime soon. It's probably just going to be involved. Meanwhile, on the mid lane, Ethereal Ice had to use that Spiraling Despair just to make sure that Upop wasn't gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Turret plating will fall.
Yeah, I think it seems like they're trying to find some sort of way to get an advantage. I do think Ornn being aggressive here is the right call, considering the Ornn is ahead in CS, is the only one really doing quote-unquote well, mostly because mid and bot have been collapsed on multiple times. And getting that level to the ornaments is pretty much important. I think if I were the Wolves, I would lane swap. There's no reason to keep sending Jinx and Braum over because they're just going to get dived. Dragon is being piled really hard already from the Shrooms. I think they should have lane swapped a little bit earlier, as we do see the Gwen being caught out here.
Yeah, Discord Snuggles caught out, is able to dash away, and with that ghost is able to escape. The bowling ball hits, but it's just a bit too far away now at this point. You can see Bussy really wanted to use that ultimate. I think they did, but I think Discord Snuggles used what I would imagine is the mist, right, to dodge out on that, because I didn't see a sleep come out.
I did not either.
Yeah, so probably using that mist just to be able to get away, but it is going to be the Shrooms with full priority getting the Herald, so no extra grub fights coming out. I did take that a bit late, but it is going to be the Herald picked up for the Shrooms and took it. It looked like, okay, I was wondering, I didn't see the icon, but Bussy Please was already summoning it, going right for mid. They're just not letting up at all. Takes the mid tower, and it's gonna be Stone Kit Kat jumping in there, seeing if they're able to get that second charge. They are. Will eventually be taken out, but it is Ethereal Ice and Discord Snuggles that are able to stop. Using the Needle Storm and the Spiraling Despair just to clean out the wave, try and force out Frisky MMO. Down at half now.
Wow.
Won't be taken out. And a
I'm honestly
massive advantage for the
surprised.
Shrooms.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that Caitlyn lived there without having to burn Flash. That was 2 ults on the side of the Wolves and almost tower
so
too.
far behind though.
That's true.
It is definitely rough. 2 minutes on the clock, and that gold lead is only getting worse. Approaching now 3,000 gold. Actually over 3,000 gold right now, approaching 4,000 as we see top laner is just bagging it out, trying to find something, and it looks like Lil Poinker's really the only one here that isn't suffering a massive gold deficit or a massive experience deficit, right? While you would prefer it on your carries, at bare minimum, knowing that your Ornn is still doing alright up in this top side, I say, as he's getting run down and 1v1 by Sloppy Puma. The caster curse is real. I shouldn't have spoken. Sloppy Puma with the 1v1 onto Lil Poink, who on that Ornn, like I was saying, you know, you're happy, right, that they're not down XP, especially because of those items, but just disrespecting that Heartsteel, disrespecting the Shen damage there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I know Ornn has been trying to make these trades work, but unfortunately, the Shen having Heartsteel, the Shen doesn't really care about these early trades and losing them, as long as it's getting Heartsteel procs. And then we kind of saw it there that now it's kind of outscaling this Ornn, and I'm not sure what the Ornn's gonna do. I mean, 301 Shen, 302 Swain, 40 Caitlyn.
Yeah. You can see Stone Kit Kat already has that Winter's Approach done, right? Already has that tier stacking. Isn't even going the tier and then other items. No, just going right for the tier item because of how far ahead they are. And it is very rough. Dream Bauble as well, right? Doesn't need to get that Soul Slay or maybe Celestial Opposition to defend themselves. Just going for max healing, max utility on this Taric. Minute 30 on that next dragon. If Shrooms pick this one up, it will be Soul Point. So the Wolves are definitely going to have to think of something soon.
Yeah, and there's no... Because we're so early in the game, there's nothing else to be contested on. I guess they could focus their resources on either mid or top to get bounty stacks, because at this point, the bounties are kind of important to get back into the game. We don't really see much vision on the bot side either. It is a minute until this Cloud Trick. It will be a Cloud Soul. Taric is putting down vision, but not really much for the Wolves. I think they gotta kind of have to reset at the same time, or they're going to be a little late to the show.
Yeah. Looks like Wolves might be first in the draw, but actually they're taking back, so probably not now. As I say that, they are conceding the space. Stone Kit Kat and Frisky MMO there first. Upop just trying to clear out the vision. You can see Ethereal Ice trying to maybe stop them, but it's going to be hard to do, especially when you realize Sloppy Puma does have that stand united. Little Point without
Mhm.
the TP means that it's probably going to be on that Ornn more to use that Call of the Forge God, maybe interrupt the channel if they do want to fight this Drake. But with 10 seconds and no prio, it looks like they might just concede this, trying to live another day and maybe fight on that Sol, wait for some gold, wait for some item completions on their carries.
Yeah, and I think this is absolutely the correct call. You know that Ornn is pretty close to the ornaments. I think just focus your resources elsewhere. It looks like they're going towards top side, maybe. They're going for the Shen. The Shen does have a 200 gold shutdown bounty, and we see it be engaged very soon.
Yeah, looking to collapse towards this top side. They're just shoving in the wave, and Shen does have that 200 gold bounty. Is going to be what you need. Upop using that teleport now to make sure that his top laner does not get dove, and I think the combination of these two, the wave clear, the AoE damage, is going to be enough to deter them. It will be. Shrooms making sure to protect the most vulnerable of their teammates and making sure that they do not give up any ground. Stone
Oh.
Kid Cat. Wow, so far in, you can see all the way in the back line, but it might be Pussy Please getting caught out. Discord Snuggles uses that Needle Storm, tries to find the damage, but it won't be enough. A knock-up from Nideon cancels that W, but it won't be anywhere near close. Nideon goes down. Macho getting chased as well. Frisky MMO trying to find a little bit more, but Ethereal Ice using that Molten Path, the Molten Fisher, to try and slow them down, but Stone Kit Kat with the flash forward is going to get the stun. It's going to be Bussy Please chasing him down, and Stone Kit Kat manages to use that Ignite, finish off the kill. Low Point trying to get back to his team. The taunt comes out from Sloppy Puma, but it won't land. The Blast Cone, though, launches him right back into the waiting arms of Macho, who isn't at any risk anymore, but with that Baron up, the gold lead ballooned all the way to 6,000. The Shrooms are in full control of this game, full control of the Baron.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they did not go for the burn there. I think they spent maybe a little bit too much time trying to collect other kills on the map. They've reset. Kalen's resetting a little bit late here, so might not be a Baron just yet.
Yeah, I'd imagine they want to look for it soon, but yeah, you don't have the fastest take. You know, you do have that Lilia, it's nice, but Frisky MMO isn't anything like a Jinx, you know, like a Zarya or like a maybe an on-hit Varus. They are going for that full AD build. They have the Collector, now the Infinity Edge, lots of crit, lots of one-shot and burst potential. Even Oopbop going for their allies. So a lot of team fight, a lot of strength when actually fighting enemy players, but the objective damage not quite there just yet. So they're gonna hold off. See maybe if they just want to wait those 3 minutes out for the soul and force the wolves to come to them, because if they win that team fight, the game is near impossible for the wolves. That's really the last chance that I think they're gonna get.
Yeah, interesting purchase here by Ethereal Eyes. Getting the Oblivion Orb, I guess, for the healing from Swain. I feel like it's... I don't know. I think when you're this behind, I feel like you should be pouring your resources over better items, but we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, and you can see Macho just trying to find something, but caught out over the wall.
Ooh.
The vision is there. 2 autos and an ult from Frisky MMO will be more
Oh,
than
it's a
enough.
solo bolo.
It was technically a solo, yeah. They got the vision over the wall, and Macho just not respecting that at all. Knowing Frisky was there, but not respecting the damage. The Caitlyn just does so much. Now they're going to turn their eyes towards the Baron. Oopop shoving in that top side, not afraid of Little Point in the slightest, getting that Ornn as low as possible, possibly even going for the 1v1 here. Using that Demonic Ascension, getting the damage out, trying to get the root, but they won't be able to land it, but they are just going to go under tower. Little Point using the Call of the Forge God to maybe force them out. Now Nideon and Discord Snuggles have finally spotted them on the Baron, but it is way too late. Pussy Please gets the smite down and secures the Baron. Ethereal Ice whiffs that Spiraling Despair, but a nice third Needle Storm lands enough damage to force Stone Kit Kat and Pussy Please out as Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide.
Yeah, and all in the meantime too, Shen just pushing bot lane relentlessly, still having stand united. Might be able to get this tower. We do see the Ornn electing to teleport top, maybe to prevent tower from going down. But nope, Shen is gonna be getting this tower uncontested and more gold on the side of Shrooms.
Yeah. Really nice, I think, plays from the Shrooms just this entire game, right? You already have this 8,000 gold lead at 23 minutes. You're looking to close this out quite early on, if we're being honest. The Soul is up in 45 seconds. The Wolves, after losing Baron, after losing that team fight, are just struggling to find anything, and they might be down ultimates for this fight as well. It looks like enough will be up, but they don't have any TPs, so there won't be any flanks. Macho doesn't have his flash. Ethereal Ice doesn't have her flash, right? That's both of your carries down. Meanwhile, the Shrooms have everything. They have,
Yeah.
well, should have everything. Stone Kit Kat down a flash means they won't be able to land that flash stun onto multiple people, but given that you have Bop with the flash, you could just flash him in instead, right? You can just flash in the Lilia, who would be able to follow up with a sleep as well. So I think you're really just struggling to find any way to enter the jungle even at this point.
Yeah, I think you give it. I think if you were to 50-50 something, I don't think it would be Soul. I think it would be Elder, right? That's where a win con could arise. Ornn is level 14, so we should be seeing that first ornament rather soon whenever Ornn decides to join the team. Ornn is going to the bot side. Swain does have teleport. Maybe not as many wards as I thought on the side of blue. Nope, there's some wards there now. We'll see as they start the fight.
Yeah, Nidion looking forward, trying to use that shield to get a little bit of space. Low point going in with the Call of the Forge, got the damage, is good, but Nidion's getting melted before the fight even starts. Stone Kit Kat able to get a nice Cosmic Radiance and dodge out on a lot of damage. Meanwhile, in the back line, Pussy Please going for Macho. They're able to finish it out. A triple kill for Frisky MMO on the front of that fight as Lil Pink and Discord Snuggles get melted. It's only Ethereal Ice left alive getting chased down, and they're able to back it off. She's able to run away, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. The wave clear is good, but it won't matter. Chemtech Soul picked up for the Shrooms.
That was such a close fight for the Wolves. I believe it was this Herrick that was about to die without having ultimate up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, they did have the Cosmic Radiance out early, but they almost went down. I wouldn't say it's a close fight. I know we're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but if you're not able to take out anyone before that Cosmic Radiance comes down, the fight is pretty much over. They just have too much damage, too much sustain. You can see the Taric now, a full Winter's Approach, a full Thimble Winter, excuse me, now that it's leveled up, full Redemption. You just have all the healing. Discord Snuggles, 2 levels down in the jungle, levels down in support, levels down everywhere, and they're just trying to fight over their Raptors, see if they can get literally anything, but it's Macho again. 2 autos and a Q from Frisky MMO. He doesn't even need the ultimate anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not giving themselves the opportunities to find these bounties, giving up a lot of needlessly unnecessary kills, and we see maybe this final push here at mid, maybe once Lilia joins. But yeah, Dan is pretty much in sight.
Yeah. I mean, it's all over but the towers at this point, right? Frisky MMO, they just have so much siege potential thanks to this Caitlyn, and thanks to the Taric and the Swain. It's very hard for them to actually stop it. The bright side, right, is that you have Ethereal Ice and Macho with enough wave clear that you're not worried about losing the game right here, right now, but they're just able to siege so well, take this damage so hard. You can see Discord Snuggles eating an auto and a half, going all low, but it's Macho stepping too far forward, forced to use the flashes. Oopop lands the Never Move, and that's going to be the inhibitor. Now they turn their sights back towards the jungle, realize that there's nothing on the top. Maybe we go to the bot side, steal away that. Baron is up in 1 minute and 15. The Wolves' last chance, maybe a Hail Mary Super Mega Death Rocket steal, maybe Discord Snuggles over the wall to steal it, but I don't even think you can win a fight at this point. Ornn doesn't even have upgrades for his teammate, finally has that Thimble Winter upgraded, but that's it.
Yeah, wait, I'm pretty sure Ornn gets his item leveled up on level 13. Am I...
Well,
wrong?
I'm pretty sure they moved it up, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 14 to 15, 16, 17, 18 right now, right? Because you need to get, they wanted 18 to actually matter for Ornn or something? I think, I might be wrong. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Ethereal Ice getting hit by that Never Move, getting chased down by Oopop, forced to back off his own tower. And they should be getting that upgrade, hopefully, relatively soon, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no, he gets it after 13, so he has 2 items he can upgrade.
Yeah, probably needs to chase down his teammates now, tell them,
What is going
hey,
on?
I have your items here. Right, and it's rough. Discord Snuggles isn't even on 2 items yet. Finally, you know, clearing out that wave, clearing out a little bit might get them enough gold for the Rabadons, but it's gonna be Stone Kit Kat. They channeled it. Sloppy Puma comes in with the Stand Unite. It's now Night Beyond and Macho getting run down. Low Point finally approaches. Call for Forgot comes out, and Stone Kit Kat gets melted. They need one more. Super Mega Death Rocket will find him. It's going to be Lil Point taking the kill. Now with one and an excited Sloppy Puma getting chased down, but it is Bussy Please on the backline. Macho falling low. Frisky MMO gets the kill. Lil Point gets double knock up and flashes out in an attempt to find anything, but the Drowsy comes low. Frisky MMO with a second. Frisky MMO with a third, and the ace in the hole. The snipe out won't find it. It's going to be the bowling ball. Lil Point walks into it just to make sure that Frisky can't get another kill. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Upop has just been single-handedly shoving in 2 waves against Ethereal Ice, who's trying their best to clear these waves, trying their best to hold out the game just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Good attempt there. I think they did try. They did get another kill there on the Tarek.
Yeah. I would
right.
like to note out of the 2 kills the Wolves have had this game, both have gone on to Ornn. So not
yet
the ideal
no
scenario.
ornaments on his team. That's how sad is that?
That is very sad. I'm hoping we upgrade these soon. See the
Now,
Shrooms
right?
backing off. They don't think they have the they don't have the pressure to end quite yet, but you can see the Redemption coming out now. They're pinging onto the bear and they're taking away some camps just to add insult to injury. And the Shrooms have just been in full control this whole game, right? I mean, I know we're trying to talk about how the Wolves could bring this back, but we need to give credit to the Shrooms. At no point in this game did they feel behind, did they feel even a smidgen of risk. They have just had the control of the map, of the mid lane, of the top lane, of the bot lane, of the jungle, of these objectives, and there has been no hope in sight for the Wolves the entire time the Super Mega Death Rocket comes through. But it won't steal. Bussy Please and Frisky MMO able to combo it out. Bussy Please chasing forward. The Cosmic Radiance has already come down. The damage looking for it is good. Nadion manages to block the ace in the hole for his carry, but that's all that he's going to be able to do. The Glacial Fish are not going to be enough to buy any sort of time. Only one going down so far, and it looks like the reset's now coming out of the Shrooms. They got the pick, but they don't think that they want to chase forward. They use a couple ultimates, use a couple summoners there, and they realize that Elder is coming up in 30 seconds. They have the Baron buff. Everything except one 30% HP Nexus Tower has fallen, right? They have the top side, they have the mid lane. The bot side is their only bastion of defense, but you can't play around that at this point. They can just dive your towers, so
Yeah,
I think it's very hard, especially with no Super Mega Death Rocket to steal the objective.
Yeah, I honestly, I know it's more secure to get the Elder, but I feel like you shouldn't even just risk it. I think you can just go bot and end the game.
I would tend to agree. Speaking of risk now, it might be Stone Kit Kat caught out using the Redemption, gonna be able to heal himself back up, but that ace in the hole does so much damage, and it's Little Point getting chased down as well, and here's the call to end the game. They say, with those 2 picks, we don't need the Elder, we have the lane pressure, we have the Baron, and it's Bussy Please flashing into 3 people, gets the Zanyas down. Macho able to land that cleanse, and he might have stepped a little bit too far forward, but it's going to be Upop backing up his jungler. The Stand United from Sloppy Puma to give the shield to make sure that he's not taken out. 2 kills now, and in like every fight before it, Ethereal Ice the only one left alive. The Shrooms going for the Nexus, going for these objectives, and there is nothing that Ethereal Ice can do but watch as their Nexus is destroyed and they lose game 1.
Yeah, very, very clean, solid game on the side of Shrooms. They didn't really give the Wolves many opportunities to mount a comeback. I thought that one fight near Dragon could have been it, get some Jinx resets, but unfortunately they were just way too far behind. They knew Ornn could be left on an island. They weren't really scared of it, putting their resources into mid and bot, and just a wonderful, wonderful game for the Shrooms.
Yeah. Very unfortunate there. I say unfortunate for the Wolves, right? You feel like that game might have been in their hands a little. You made some less mistakes, but honestly, the Shrooms just never let up. There is I find it very hard to actually point out mistakes in the Shrooms gameplay, just because they looked so good this entire game. They were running down lanes, they were running down jungles, they were running down objectives, and there was nothing the Wolves could ever do. Like we said, right? 2 kills on Ornn was all they were able to get out of that entire game. The Caitlyn, they found anyone caught out was just one-shotting them from across the map. Their tanks were shredded in like seconds, right? Little Sloppy Puma on the Shen was melting the tanks, and he was building full tank himself. Very little you feel like you could do on the Wolves, but as far as it goes for the Shrooms, really amazing gameplay. If they bring this into game 2, I think we're going to be going to bed early.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to see some adjustments on drafting. I think the Gwen wasn't really a strong pick. Giving away the Shen was also not a decent. I think maybe they expected the Shen to land on them and not expecting the B1 Shen pick. No matter
Well,
the reason.
Sloppy Puma isn't the Shen player, right? It's a little point. They thought, oh, if you're not a Shen player, we can probably, dodge that. But like, I agree with you though. I think they were not expecting the B1 Shen takeaway, right?
Yeah.
Stealing it away from them, knowing that they don't have a one trick. But Sloppy Puma was comfortable enough just to blind pick it and go 4-0 and 13, right? 3 perfect games from the Shrooms.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if that's such a strong pick for the Shrooms, then I think the Wolf, maybe I'm going to take a gander here. We'll go blue side, force the Shrooms to ban it. Or maybe the Shrooms already have a backup plan. We'll see. But there has to be some sort of new iteration on draft strategies going into game 2.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think the Wolves have to be a little bit more cautious about giving over these power picks and maybe a little bit more cautious about blind picking things that get countered so easily.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, for right now, we, I think, are going to cut it to a short break. When we come back, we will be in draft for game 2. Don't go.
The unknown terror that stood alone
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are in draft for Game 2 of the Wolves versus Shrooms series. Game 1 was a dominant win for the Shrooms. 2 kills were what Wolves managed to pick up, both on their own. 3 perfect games for the Shrooms. Last one ended in just about 26 minutes. There was really nothing the Wolves can do after a certain point. The Shrooms played that game absolutely beautifully, and I think it's going to be on Wolves to adapt, because if Shrooms bring even half of what they did last game, it should be an easy victory.
Yeah, but I guess we do see the Shrooms going red side, which means the Wolves did elect to go blue side. I think that makes sense. Shen is gonna be a contested pick here. We'll see how they respond with their B1 pick. It's just a little too difficult considering Shrooms did perform at a high level across the board.
Yeah. And if they can, keep this up, I'd imagine they have more picks than just what we saw in Game 1. Hopefully, at least, right? You could see Wolves already throwing away whatever draft prep they had. The Lilia and the Swain both banned out. The Shrooms just banning exactly what they did the first time. I'd imagine saving that ban 3 for a possible Shen pick, given that they thought it was good enough to pick away last time. The Fizz still banned out for the Wolves. They don't want to see that, but it will be the Shen ban for the Shrooms, so we won't be seeing that, the Lilia, or the Sway in this game, and the Shrooms will have to figure something new out. Meanwhile, the Wolves first picking that Seraphine for a flexible pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say that does give Frisky the patented Kaisa pick. Maybe at this point they think that Frisky would perform no matter what pick they pick, so maybe leaving that up, securing the Seraphine here. I believe Seraphine mid or support. I'm not actually quite sure. We'll see how Shrooms respond, and they do with a Zac. Presumably going to the jungle. But who knows? We've seen wackier stuff before.
I will say, something that we have managed to see a fair bit of, at least in last season, some games, is this interesting pick of the Zac support.
You say
Even-
seasons, but last week we did see the Zac
I
Smite
shouldn't.
support.
I shouldn't even say seasons when we saw it support. I speak specifically though because Nidion is someone who plays it quite a bit. And this is not, this isn't Nidion, right? It's Stone Kit Kat for the Shrooms. So it could be a bit different. Stone Kit Kat doesn't play it as much, and Busky Please does play quite a bit of the Zac. So I'd imagine it's probably going towards the jungle. That being said, we have seen crazier things, but it will be
Yeah.
the Yasuo locked in for the Shrooms. I'd imagine that goes to Upa, given what they play, but it could also go top. We've seen some World's Inspiration before. Might be seeing it again. Meanwhile, the Wolves going for some extra engage and follow-up in the form of that Vex. Now hovering the Camille and locking it in
Oh.
as well. So a very aggressive team comp. This time the Wolves completely switching it up, saying last game we played this very defensive playstyle. It did not work out. We felt on the back foot each time. This game we want to take it into our own hands. We want to be the ones going forward. And it's going to be the Shrooms responding back right with Sivir.
Yeah, so it kind of locks certain positions. We know Yasuo's going mid, maybe top. We'll see. Sivir definitely ADC. Seraphine still could go bottom support. Probably support is my guess, but the flex is still open. The Camille blind is a very interesting pick. It seems that means the Shrooms are prioritizing the Sivir over any counters that could be banned. We do see an Udyr ban here. I think if I were the Wolves, I would ban really strong Camille counters. No, but it looks like they're maybe gonna ban the Taric instead, and they do, giving the Shroom support maybe a bit more reach into their pool.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a bit interesting to see, right? Stone Kit Kat was the one who had some of those Camille games. Granted, it was top, so I do know the Camille support is something that we see sometimes, but I'd imagine that we're not locking that out quite yet.
Yeah.
I'd imagine also that we're probably going to see that Seraphine go somewhere towards the support role now that we have Vex locked in. I'd imagine it's not going to be Vex spot or support or anything too crazy. Nidion plays quite a bit of that Seraphine, so
Yeah, it looks like with that Malphite ban, they don't want to give any more engaged tools for this Yasuo to ult in. We'll see what the Shrooms pick here. I think they just picked their support support.
Well, I think you leave it up, right? I think probably.
Oh yeah, top counter.
Yeah. I'd imagine, given that you think Camille is going top, you probably lock that in, and we're gonna see it. The Volibear locked in. This one's a bit more interesting. It's definitely a bit more of a skill matchup than some. But I think it is slightly Volibear favored, all things considered, depending on the players, as of course. Like I said, still a bit of a skill matchup, but Volibear should be able to, press E, press that Sky Splitter right on top of himself as Camille goes in. You're able to shield a lot of that initial burst, able to return some initial bursts, so you tend to be able to trade quite well. It's going to be the Xin Zhao locked in for the Wolves, committing again to this go forward, go in gameplay. They want to be aggressive, and I'd imagine we see either a aggressive bot laner here, or possibly a support if we want to see the Seraphine bot lane.
Yeah, I'm thinking Kaisa, AD, maybe
Kaisa, I think, would
Smolder.
make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it is going to be the Seraphine bot.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so yeah, like I thought, that Seraphine, I'd imagine going towards the bot side. I'd imagine it's not going to be the back spot. Obviously it still could be, but I'd imagine Etherealize is going to be the one picking up that Vex. And the Seraphine Renata, very hard to dive on if you're going for the Zac. So I think if you're the Shrooms, you're probably just going to want something to shore up the rest of your damage. I'd say an Enchanter here could be very, very good. Keep your backline alive, boost your front line, or in the case of a little bit of one of those off picks, using the Poppy to make sure that Camille and Xin Zhao can't actually get in, that front line of Wolves can't get in, that they're not going to be able to fight, and you're just going to be able to outrange with the Sivir, and use that counter engage of those knockups of that Zac and the Yasuo to be able to trade back when they try.
Yeah, it feels like a similar theme of last game's picks, where it's a lot of engaging, a lot of team fighting, and playing in chokes. And I think Wolves saw that and went, okay, we need to find a way to kind of tear that apart. Renata, Seraphine ultimates definitely do that. The Vex and Xin Zhao ultimates will also disrupt. But again, also, as you mentioned, on the other side, Poppy kind of disrupts. Zac disrupts. So it'll be interesting to see how each team kind of fights and prioritizes early on in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be a bit more difficult for the Wolves. A bit easier than last time, but still a bit difficult. I think the Poppy is really going to stifle that Xin Zhao engage, and the Camille engage, right? Like, the Vex is still going to be able to go in. She's not targetable when she's in that ultimate, so you're going to be able to, fly in. But having Vex as your engage and not your follow-up engage, I think is going to be a bit rough. You're going to need that Vex to go in, get the fear, and then try and have Xin Zhao and Camille collapse while that Poppy is still feared, while that Poppy is not able to put up the steadfast presence to be able to actually get in, right? Because once the Poppy is out of that CC, is out of that, as able to use that steadfast presence, the chance of you being able to get on that Sivir to do really anything to her is very, very low.
Yeah, considering especially on the side of Wolves with their team comp, I'm assuming Camille is off to the side lanes pushing. The rest of that team kind of wants to be there first. I think it's a little bit more difficult to engage onto the Shrooms. They'd kind of rather be there first, so that if the Zac kind of slingshots in or the Volibear ults in, then you have that space to ultimate with Seraphine or to use Renata's ultimate as well. So you're right. I think it'll take a lot more coordination on the part of the Wolves to kind of execute their game plan.
Yeah. Well, we have said our piece for right now. We're going to cut it to a short break. When we come back, we will be in game for the Wolves versus the Shrooms Part 2 and see if the Shrooms are going to be able to win 2-0 or if the Wolves will be able to bring us to a Game 3. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back into Game 4, Game 2 of our series of the Knights versus the Wolves. Shrooms versus the Wolves. In Game 1, the Shrooms took a very commanding lead early on and did not let up a very dominant victory. We'll see if they can bring that back for Game 2, or if the Wolves will be able to pull out a comeback.
Yeah, we see both teams kind of going for the standard 5-point, except the Volibear, who's just chilling near the tower. The Camille going for that ignite instead of flash. We'll see if the Shrooms kind of act there around that in the early game. But other than that, nothing too serious. To note, we do see Poppy getting that Hail Blades, which is pretty standard for that aggressive trading patterns. And I'm actually wondering how bad, not how bad, or how good that will do against the likes of Seraphine and Renata. I think it would pan out pretty well.
I'd imagine so. I feel like it's going to do pretty well. The big thing I'm looking at, right, is this top lane matchup. It's going to be a lot more brawly than we've seen before, right, with the double tanks. And I expect to see a lot of fighting. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, that Vex is something that you see a lot of into that Yasuo, right? Every time Yasuo dashes through a minion, Vex gets that passive to get a little bit of extra damage. So
Yeah, and we see a lot of trading going on in the early game, as well as the top. Kind of a repeat of that first game, people just trading, and I think the bot lane will get an early advantage. We'll see if they get level 2 first, and I believe so, as they kind of kept Seraphine away from the creeps.
yeah, just trying to zone off nice and early, make sure that they can use that early lane advantage that they have before Seraphine gets that lost chapter, before she's able to just sort of perma-clear these waves without any real threat to her.
Yeah, and as we say this, the Civ are actually getting, the Wolves actually getting a level 2 advantage here. Seems pretty even thus far. Seraphine still has some CS to grab here, but otherwise, pretty even. Important to note, too, is that the Zac is going down towards the bot side, while the Zinzao is going from bot to top. So we'll see if Volibear pushing here might come back against him here in maybe a minute.
Yeah, we do see Zen just going for what looks like a full clear right now, going right into that blue, possibly going into a Gromp gank, or just going for early, seeing if they can get anything, or maybe they're just going to use that early pressure to maybe threaten a gank and then move a little point down, make sure that they know that they can walk up and test this Scuttle Crab. Meanwhile, on the bot side, good poke coming out from both teams. You can see Macho keeping his distance this time, doesn't want to get poked out, had more than enough of that from the last Caitlyn.
Yeah, exactly. We see some trading happening in the mid lane. It is pushing against the Shrooms. That does give a little bit of a window for Zac to act upon. No wards from the Wolves here being so pushed up. They should be a little wary of where the Zac is, especially as they see Zinzao on the top side.
Yeah, see, Please wants to channel something. Stone Kid Cat flashing forward for the slow. Zac not in position quite yet. Meanwhile, on the top side, Sloppy Puma trying to fight out Lil Poink. Gonna use the flash to try and get out. Maybe force a flash out here. Lil Poink uses the ignite and gets the flash from Discord Snuggles as well. But eventually will fall. Does have the TP to get back to lane, but it's still not great to give your lane opponent this early level 1, right? Camille doesn't have flash. Now you're flashless as well. That Camille is going to have a much easier time fighting. You can see in the bot lane, Stone Kid Cat was a little bit too aggressive, but now Bussy Please going back, looking for something in mid, but a really nice feel of fear there from Ethereal Ice. Now trying to use their spells. They're out the way. Bussy Please, a nice stretch to bring her back in, but won't even have to use flash. Really nice fear there from Ethereal Ice.
Yeah, going back to the topside gank, I think Puma was a little bit too confident there, knowing that, oh, as I said, it's a fight in mid lane.
Yeah, and they don't want to stop. Bussy Please going right back in, and it's going to be Oopop landing a knock-up. Ethereal Ice first to flash out. Bussy Please going forward now, needs to find a little bit more damage, but the double fear from Ethereal Ice might just be enough.
You gotta teleport.
Trying to defend his jungler, but it's Discord Snuggles goes in, manages to get the auto, and now it's going to be Bussy Please with no flash trying to escape. Discord Snuggles needs just a little bit more if they're able to lightning or the dash, they'll get it, and that will be it. 2 kills for Discord Snuggles. Bussy Please and Oopop thought they had a nice engage there. but Ethereal Ice with an amazing fear, just like they did last gang. And I think this Vex is working out quite well for them.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of movement coming from the Zac and the Yasuo really charges up that fear quite quickly. I think they were a little bit too aggressive, flashed into the tower range, kind of got a lot of hits there, weren't able to recuperate. The Vex did have to flash earlier, but the Yasuo's flash is down as well. I would say, as mid lane is fighting here, and Ubop is level 6, the Camille Ignite should be up in about a minute. That's going to be pretty important. We'll see if she tries to engage on the flashless Volibear, especially as Zac is kind of roaming top side. And wow.
Macho! Nice little snipe there. Frisky MMO not showing respect to that Seraphine. Now with the Faded Ashes, able to snipe out Frisky MMO. Just gets knocked out in the middle of the wave with flash up, cleanse up, really everything up. And there's not a whole lot to be done. Let's see, please now walks right back into that top side looking for the Void Grubs here, which might be a little bit risky. Sloppy Puma has a little bit of IO, but you can see Ethereal Ice starting to walk up.
Yeah, Ubop's not there either.
Down. Gonna look for it though, not checking the Void Grubs. Okay, now walking up to check the Void Grubs. Should see the Zac on it shortly. Okay, they've spotted out, so they know that he's there now. Bot side, a little bit of a trade, but Ethereal Ice trying to zone out Bussy Please, who's, I think, trying to secure an extra one of these Void Grubs and jump over the wall. That is, meanwhile, on top side, Sloppy Puma going for the 1v1 on Little Point, but he knows that the rest of the team is up here. Might not be a great idea. The Shadow Surge comes in, and it's going to be Ethereal Ice with the engage there. Now a possible re-engage from Bussy Please, jumping onto Discord. It's going to be the last breath from Oopop, but an amazing Crescent Strike from Discord manages to knock him back. Now it's going to be Oopop dashing through the wave, trying to maybe get off this 1v3, but the wind becomes lightning from the Xin Zhao. A double knockup from Oopop is very nice, but he doesn't have the ultimate anymore. And it's going to be Discord Snuggles picking up another kill, 4-0 on the Xin Zhao right now, and the disrespect from the Shrooms, thinking that they could win that 1v1 and then win that 3v2.
Wow, lots of disrespect coming from the side of Shrooms. Yeah,
they were feeling themselves a little bit from that last game, man. They are not showing the respect they need to this game.
Yeah, I think they think it's an extension of the previous game, but unfortunately that is not the case here, as we find the Wolves up 3k before the 10-minute mark. Quite a lead in all three lanes at this point. The Xin Zhao especially with a 402 stat line, and a little bit ahead of this Zac, who's still farming for that level 6.
Yeah, still trying to get something, and it's you can see this gold lead right now. 3k, you know, evening out a little bit, but this is actually a larger lead currently for the Wolves than the Shrooms had last game. So if the Wolves are able to, you know, keep this up, we might just have a repeat of what we did last game. This time for the Wolves instead, bringing us to a game. But it is on them to not throw, right? The Shrooms do still have potential, but as we saw from last game, it really is on the team that's winning to keep up that pressure, to make sure that the enemy does not have a way to come back into that game.
Yeah. As we see the junglers kind of form out their camps, we do have the Eclipse ready on the Xin. I think this is the first full item built. Yes. So we'll see if they kind of elect to engage pretty quickly, especially as Drake is up.
Yeah, and I think the big one here, the big idea for the Shrooms is to just give this early drag, maybe 2, and just play it for those item spikes, right? Because that Sivir is going to be able to absolutely saw through teams if they're able to get an early advantage. But if they're not, then it's going to be very hard. Now on the top side, we can see the Hextech Ultimatum coming out at low point, going for the 1v1, but Sloppy Puma does have quite a bit of sustain, especially going for that Warden's Mail early to make sure that they can survive. Now in the mid lane is Oopop getting chased on by Discord Snuggles, who's able to land the knockup.
Wow.
And the Crescent Strike will finish him off. Oopop going down in the mid lane with the Dragon up. And I'd imagine that Shrooms really don't have a way to fight this right now. You can see the Poppy roaming up. You can see Buzzzy Please roaming up to maybe get something. Looking for the wave, looking for Discord Snuggles. Maybe the damage is there. The Poppy is here, but Andion is making sure to just zone him off. Meanwhile, on the top side, Sloppy Puma forced to flash out. Low point going for a nice 1v1 there, and just stayed a little bit too long. You can see already down. Like, what, a kill, 3 assists. You're not that down that much CS though, right? Which is the one benefit, and you are going for the Frozen Heart, so clearly Sloppy Puma is not going for a very 1v1 oriented build, but just wants to try and survive at this point.
Yeah, what I was gonna say earlier before they kind of gave up a kill. In this situation last game, the Wolves were kind of too aggressive there when they were so much behind. But we'll see if the Shrooms do the same mistake here, as we do get a flash from Silver.
Yeah, so we're going down there. Very, very risky plays from the Shrooms to try and walk up, especially knowing just how far ahead Discord Snuggles
Oh.
is. And speaking of far ahead, it's going to be 2 more kills there. Not even going for the Sundered Sky or maybe a Bruiser item. No, straight into the Eclipse there. Wants full damage, wants to be able to dive that backline. And Stone Kid Cat wasn't able to get the knock up there to stop the engage, thanks to an amazing Encore and Hostile Takeover combo from the bot lane of the Wolves.
Yeah, oh my goodness. As the game goes on, we really are getting a repeat of game 1 here. As we do see Zach also still hovering around topside. This also happened in the early game after a bot lane mishap. We'll see if history repeats itself, as we do see Nadion up here to contest for the grubs coming up in now, right? Maybe 3 seconds. There you go.
There it is. Yeah, and the Wolves are just on that immediately, giving no quarter to the Shrooms, making sure that they cannot get like even an inch back into this game. The right side here is that the Shrooms were able to take out 2 of those Void Grubs.
Huh?
It's gonna be Bussy Please over the wall, a little bit short. I know he was trying to do, right? He was trying to do that
Yeah.
back trick where you fly all the way over, but stopping short and smiting early means that the Wolves are going to be able to secure themselves 4 Void Grubs. The Shrooms do have 2, so they're not going to be able to get that second round of Void Mites, but they are able to get the first. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Oopop just way too far forward. The Shadow Surge from Ethereal Ice, and Discord Snuggles picks up his 8th kill of the game. So far ahead on the Xin Zhao now. And you can see Ethereal Ice, though, might be caught out, forced to flash out. Nice
Ooh.
handshake there from the Renata, making sure that they can't chase any further. See, first game MMO already popped on the hunt. Try to get that movement speed off, but Flash from Ethereal Ice make sure they stay alive. Now Lil Point threatening a dive in that top lane. Sloppy Puma very low, forced to back off this tower and just concede everything to this community.
Yeah, I mean, Sloppy Puma does have the teleport, can go back, teleport back in with full health, get some resources. As we do see the bot lane of Shrooms struggling a little bit since they tried to go and engage onto the Xin earlier.
But he's going in the bot side, trying to land a little bit of damage onto Nadion and Macho, who use both of the ults to try and survive. The flash comes out from both, and the exhaust as well, but they won't be able to survive. Finally, Shrooms getting an extra kill on the board. Meanwhile, on the top side, Whirlpoink and Discord Snuggles forcing Sloppy Puma out, and he just got back. Doesn't have the TP.
Oh, you're right.
Right, and now he's going to be forced to give up this tower, or potentially stay and try and 2v1, but I don't think that's a good idea.
No, you need to leave. You're wasting time.
Yeah, backing off fully there, and they're able to get that first turret before the plates fall. It's going to be extra plate gold, extra just tower gold, bounty gold that they're able to get. The Shrooms were able to return something in the bot side. They were able to get a kill onto Bussy Please, but it's really just a consolation prize at this point, right? You're just down so much. You're already down 6,000 at 14 minutes, and the Wolves are doing even better at keeping this pace up than the Shrooms were last game, just so far ahead. But they are going to have to pick up these dragons. They're going to have to get these objectives and force a way to close out this game, or the Shrooms will scale, right? The bright side here is that the Shrooms aren't playing against as tanky of a team as the Wolves were last game, so there are still ways for them to get picks. There are still ways to do this, right? They don't have a Taric or anything super crazy, but once Macho gets online, those shields from the Seraphine are going to be crazy.
Oh yeah, as we do see the Squish Snuggles going for this Rift Herald, securing it. They need to pivot right away, as we do see the Drake is spawning in about 30 seconds. I'm not sure which Drake it is. I know it says on the screen Ocean, but Ocean was actually the first Drake. We'll pan over to the Drake eventually, and then we'll see what it's being contested, as we do see maybe a Herald being dropped in the mid lane.
Yeah, Herald goes down, Discord Snuggles trying to drift it. Oh!
Okay,
okay.
the show for
Okay,
us.
there it is. Yeah. little bit of a mishap there, but does end up getting that charge. They'll see if they're going to force it into the next tower. Does not look like it, but are they going to be able to? Buzzy please use the smite to make sure that it doesn't crash in, and without, that's, oh, no, sorry. Does still have an extra charge, so they can contest if they want, but I don't know if I'd recommend it. It looks like...
No, I do not. Don't make the same mistakes the Wolves did last game.
Yeah, Frisky pushed under tower, same with Stone Kit Kat. I don't think they even want to try. Little Point TPing back to that top side after already being there. Just to make sure that Sloppy Puma can't get anything. Even going for the 1v1 here, the damage is good. The Hextech Ultimatum comes out, doesn't quite dodge the Sky Splitter, and then Stormbringer in from Sloppy Puma. Meanwhile, on the bot side, a little bit of fight there. Nice steadfast presence from the Poppy. Make sure to dodge out their carry. Little Point has to be careful now. Not respecting Sloppy Puma, it could be a big mistake. Now trapped in that alcove, Sloppy Puma getting a lot of damage onto him, able to heal and use that Sky Splitter for an extra bit of shield, but the true damage from Little Point and the Ignite as well is going to be able to do so much as they back off. One, back more in the corner. Stone Kit Kat is able to open up onto Nightion and get that first kill. Now, on the backside of the fight, Ethereal Ice and Discord Snuggle put Oopbop out to pasture, but he please use the passive already. Sloppy Puma getting engaged on again, and it's going to be Little Point finally winning that extended fight in the top side. Meanwhile, bot side, the Shrooms were able to find an extra kill on Nightion, who just walks a bit too far forward. Seems to be a bit of a theme for this Renata. Getting caught out just a little bit too much, but it will be Stone Kit Kat picking up the kill as well. So still no kills onto your carry where you really want it to be.
Yeah, lots of action there going back from top and bot. It seems like Camille might be able to get this tower here after solo bowing the volley bear. We do see Zach engaging, but I don't think the damage is quite there yet. But we do see an interceptor from Oopbop here going in, and I don't think there's escape for Low Point.
Doesn't have flash, needs to find a little bit of time for the hook shot, but it won't be enough. Oopbop picking up another kill onto the Yasuo as Low Point just steps up a bit too far forward. And if you're the Shrooms, you know, look, don't get me wrong, it's still going to be a rough game ahead of you, but they are doing a bit better than the Wolves who were last game.
Yeah, that's true.
17 minutes in means that, and you know, not all onto the tank top laner this time. They're spread out a bit more across the map. You're going to get 2 kills onto your Yasuo now, which is one of the ways to win this game, right, is to get it all onto that carry, but you still have to be very careful, especially into this Ethereal Ice and Discord Snuggles combo. If they're able to dive onto you with that Shadow Surge and use the Xin to follow up, you know, they just do so much damage. Already has the Eclipse and the Sundered Sky. The burst is going to be insane.
Yeah, exactly. I think on the side of Shrooms with that many outs available, I think for now you kind of look for your picks and just get your farm, wait for the next big objective, which I think is going to be that not the Baron, although Baron is going to come out a little bit earlier than Inferno Drake. But we do see that it is an Inferno Soul, which is going to be quite large for whoever takes that soul. You could see a pick here.
Oh no, Frisky MMO walking up just a bit too far. Ethereal Ice goes in with the Shadow Surge. Discord Snuggles away on the side, making sure that they're able to land that, and it's going to be Ethereal Ice picking up the kill.
Whoa.
In to the 1v4.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe just saw a little bit too much red there, and the bear goes in, and the bear goes down. 25-second death timer for what, I have to ask. Really no reason to go in there. Punished for it as well. 2 taken out on the side of the Shrooms, and now it's the Wolves pushing down that mid lane tier 2 at 19 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, clear path in mid lane here. They have to give it up. There's no way they're going to commit, especially as Camille's pincering here against the Yasuo and the Zac.
Yeah, Wolf Point trying to find something on the backside of this fight. They thought
Whoa.
please would be able to take it out, but Lil Point knows better, knows that they can win that 1v2, and will take that Yasuo out of the fight as the rest of the Wolves come down and transition right into that inner bottom tower as they need to try and find something. But Let's Bounce goes out, the Stormbringer. The combo is good, but the hostile takeover finds the rest of the team. Bussy Please falling very, very low. Macho is able to land a lot of shields, and it will just end up being a 1-for-0 there. The rest forced to back off. Really nice engage there from Bussy Please to find a fight for the Shrooms, but now an ultimate from Ethereal Ice going in with the Shadow Surge, and Sloppy Puma is not able to land the stun in time. Ethereal Ice trying to buy a little bit of time, use that Shadow Surge to find Frisky MMO, but they won't be able to find it. Frisky MMO picking up their first kill of the game, and it will be a nice shutdown, but it will be the Wolves picking up that bot lane tier 2 tower, 30 seconds to the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, lots of pros and cons in that fight there. On the side of the Wolves, you do get bot tower, you did get some kills there, and I think most importantly for the Wolves, it will be a lot of flashes down on the side of Shrooms. On the flip side though, the Shrooms did get 2 bounty rewards. One from the Vex that we saw there, I think it was 400, and a large one from the Zid. I'm not sure who got it there, but whoever it is a whole lot happier.
I'd say it's very rough if you're the Shrooms, right? You keep finding like these bits of hope, but then you do stuff like this, you engage when it's so clearly not the play. Last Breath comes out, and it looked good at the start, and a nice wind wall blocks the encore, but the stun comes out, and the hostile takeover is good. Low point now goes in, tries to find a little bit. The Hextech ultimatum onto Stone Kit Kat ends up taking them out, and the damage from that stun is just a little bit too great. Frisky MMO, Oopop, and Busky Please all forced to back off. Really, really amazing plays there from Macho over the wall, able to just combo their CC so well, and it's going to be the Wolves picking up that Soul point now. Baron is up Soul in 5 minutes, and they have not let up this game, much like the Shrooms in the last one. Just making sure that there is no end in sight, making sure that they're invading, getting these objectives, getting these fights, and that the Shrooms are not able to breathe even a little bit. As I say this, Busky Please caught out on his red. Oopop just trying to shore up for his jungler. You can see they need to walk as a group just to take their jungle camps now.
Yeah, it looks like Nyan kind of advancing here to get some more vision as they are probably good for... Whoa, Nyan!
Flashing over the wall, trying to find a little bit of something there. Very, very aggressive there, but you love to see it if they're able to get a one fight. If they're not as great of an option. Oopop going forward, able to find 1 kill. Busky Please now looking for the CC, and they're able to find it. Stone Kit Kat picking up another kill there. Would have preferred it on the Yasuo, but hey, something is something. 2 kills now for the Shrooms, but they might have over-aggressed just a little bit. Stone Kit Kat gets caught out by Discord Snuggles. There's Ethereal Ice looking for that Shadow Surge reset, but they won't be able to find it. It's going to be Macho, Ethereal, and Discord backing off towards that Baron. They don't want to start it up.
They go for it, yeah.
I don't think they have the damage without the Camille, honestly.
Exactly, and I think this Volibear will be happy about that as they're going to get another bounty reward here. Maybe the last, depending on how much gold they get from here. No, Sloppy Puma electing just to go back instead. Interesting choice there. Why are you backing? No, just push. You have teleport.
I cannot answer that question. I'd imagine that it's because they don't do that much damage to the tower, right? They are going for that full tank Volibear build. Given the rough start that they had, I'm not that surprised. As well as grasping, sure. Please get engaged on now by Discord Snuggles, but he might have stepped a bit too far forward. Sloppy Puma going in, is able to land the stun in the Sky Splitter. Discord Snuggles caught out quite a bit, getting CC chained before they can go over the wall. The hostile takeover comes out, but they aren't able to get that kill for the reset. It's going to be 1 kill over for Ethereal Ice, but now the rest of the fight coming out. He's put into the passive, but a nice little stun there, then the handshake of Nidion. Full point tries to dash in, but Stone Kit Kat puts up the steadfast presence, making sure that they can't go forward anymore. Still a 1 for 4 in favor of the Wolves. Now they're just going to start pushing down that mid lane, get that prio. You can see they keep pinging. They might want to go over towards that Baron, but they're thinking, without Discord Snuggles, do we really have damage? Do we really want to? And it looks like they're just going to shove it down mid, try and get this tower, try and possibly get an inhib before that Baron spawns. If they're able to get a Baron late enough, they could even transfer the buff over to an Infernal Soul fight.
Yeah, the only one up now is Sloppy Puma. We will have Frisky and Yasuo up pretty soon, but I think they can get this turret, this inhibitor here, and then walk away scot-free.
Okay, Cat going in with the stun on the little plank as they just try and run away now, but they're leaving Macho to the wall. And forcing their bot laner to flash there is not the correct call.
No, absolutely not.
Late.
That is such an important summoner because I think one of the big reasons they're winning this fight is Macho. I think the Encore and the E roots and the heals and the shields are just so big.
Yeah. Oh no, Lil Poink walking just a bit too far forward, getting knocked in with that stretch and scrab from the Zac. Lil Poink has to get out, but is able to use the hook shot. Doesn't need to use flash or anything. And now the last breath is down for the Yasuo. That's a really big ultimate in this team fight.
Honestly, I thought it would be bad, but if you look over to his ultimate cooldown, it's actually back up
Oh.
pretty soon.
Yeah, never mind. That Yasuo cooldown is nothing at rank 2.
That's crazy.
Well, hey, if the Wolves immediately decided to start the fight, it would have been bad. But by the time I
Yes.
think they get back to this Baron, that Yasuo cooldown should be back up. And as well, they did force out the TP from Ethereal Ice. So that makes sure that they can't side lane. They are going to have to gear ready for that fight, which is a little bit of an upside, right? And finally, you do have two items on all your carries, right? The Shrooms have 2 items on Ubab. They have that Bork and the Immortal Shield Bow. Frisky MMO has that Essence Reaver and Navori Quickblades. So a little bit of a benefit there, but you can see 3 full items finished for Macho, 2.5 for Ethereal Ice. Low Point getting knocked back, but landed a lot of damage onto that Poppy using the X-Tech Ultimatum. Now Soul up in 30 seconds. They don't even want the Baron anymore. They just want to guarantee this fight. Forcing the Poppy back is huge, given that that's their main way to stop engage. Oopop thrown for a loop by Lil Plank. Now over the wall, the Shadow Surge doesn't quite land. Oopop. I think that was just out of range. I don't think the wind wall actually blocked it, but that wind wall is not up anymore for the Encore that lands onto 3. It's going to be Lil Point knocking up Fuzzy Please. Double kill now for the Wolves, pushing in through that bot side. It's only Oopop for Skimmo and Stone Kit Kat left alive. And without any way in, without any vision, there is no way to defend from that Soul. Just have to take that mid wave as a consolation prize, and the Wolves find their fight.
Yeah, and we see mid lane pushing out a huge wave topside that they have to respond to. This is Infernal Soul, and we'll see probably a Baron call here being made to really secure that win and maybe end the game in the next 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very, very hard for the Shrooms to come back at this point, right?
Yeah.
You're down full Infernal Soul. You don't even have a single dragon on the board to, delay or get a little bit of buff. You're looking at Baron falling down now. And, maybe Bossy Please come steal over the wall, but he's so far away, I don't think it's remotely possible. It's going to be Baron for the Wolves. Now that they have the Soul and the Baron, they have that inhibitor down in mid lane. They really do have a lot of pressure, right? They have a very good siege, with Ethereal Ice and Macho being able to delay them, right? The Encore plus that hostile takeover from Nightion is going to be able to make sure that any engage that the Shrooms try and have is just going to be significantly stifled, right? And with Sivir as your only wave here, when that Baron buff hits those minions and they get all those resistances, it just doesn't seem as good anymore.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We do see, I think the top side, I think they're going to get the bounty here with a huge wave stacking up. They are electing to just shove it down mid lane with the open hit and just call it a game instead of going for the side lanes. We see all 5 members. Yeah, I think all they have to do is wait for this wind wall and then kind of just engage and go all out.
Yeah. And it looks like Sloppy Puma was maybe looking for some vision, looking for something. The Hextech Ultimatum isn't going to be enough. He's able to use the ult to buy a little bit of time. Now it's Lil Poink actually being the one caught out. The last breath goes in, put into that resurrection timer, and they won't be able to find the hostile takeover. Lands onto 2. They're able to find a little bit of damage. Stone Kit Kat, though, finds the stun at the wall. The Encore comes out, hits 2. They're able to pick up 1. They're able to pick up another. 3 still left alive for the Shrooms. They got their pick, but at what cost? Pussy Please getting run down, put into the passive, and that is lights out for the Zac as those little bloblets fall down. It's only Oopop and Frisky MMO, the carries of the Shroom, left alive at this point to try and defend against the Super Wave and Baroned up minions. They're going to try. Frisky MMO throwing up that Boomerang Blade to try and clear this wave. Oopop finally back, thinking maybe if I can get in Tornado before this game ends, but it won't be close enough on timer. Flash forward from Ethereal Ice to land that Storm Surge kill, and the Nexus finally falls. Oopop can only stand and watch the 4 members do it.
Kudos to the Wolves there. I think after, I'd say, a horrendous game 1, to have the mental to come up with a strategy and really stick to it and win to this extent is super impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Wolves really giving the Shrooms a taste of their own medicine here in this game too, right? Grabbing that early lead and making sure to not drop it. I will say a little bit more sloppy on some of the engages, and the Shrooms definitely did have some of those fights, right? We can even see in the last fight, the pick onto Lil Point, they were able to get that initial pick, but the game was so far behind at this point that it really matter. You know, you feel like the Wolves last game, completely out of it. They really had no chance at any point in this game. The Shrooms, you thought maybe one fight here, a fight there, and something turns out a little bit different, right? So a little bit of bright side for them, but the Wolves still did not give them those opportunities. They were so together all the time. Even when they did get picked, they were able to find something for it. They either winning the rest of the team fight or able to find something on the other side of the map. So I think in this game 3, it's really going to be on whichever team sets the pace, right? Whoever gets ahead first, I think, is going to be the one really dictating how the game goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think what we said for the draft changes, there's going to be some sort of change happening here as well. Shrooms will have side selection. I would again be surprised if they did not pick blue side and kind of threaten a B1 Shen pick. But we do need to give respect to that Seraphine pick, because that Seraphine was mighty dangerous. And also the Xin too. The Xin was racking up a lot of kills early game, kind of disrupting a lot of what the Zac was trying to do early game. So I'm kind of excited to see what direction both teams will draft towards.
Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine proactivity, given what we've seen. But hey, who knows? Maybe team's going to fall back onto some comfort after those last 2 games, especially because this game 3 will be the decider. When we come back, we will have that for you. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 3, Shrooms versus Wolves, winner takes all, and we are already in draft, giving us no time to waste. You can see the Shrooms already adapting, banning out that Seraphine, do not want to see that again. You know, I can't imagine why, you know, given how insane it was last game, but it is, it does make sense. And we are also going to see the Camille ban. Scared, I'm not surprised. Little Poink really popping off on that game, and we're going to see very similar from the Wolves, banning out the Shen there, and the rest of those strong picks from the Shrooms.
Yeah, we'll see what the Shrooms pick first pick here. It was Shen before, it was Seraphine second. We'll see what the prior pick is here. I'd imagine Kaisa. I keep saying Kaisa. Maybe they're prioritizing something else, and it looks like they're locking in the Ashe B1.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this. I mean, it's very clear. It's not really a flex pick like we've seen in the past games. It's very clear it's probably going to go bot lane. Maybe support. Maybe. But we haven't seen that in a while, and Ashe is a very strong bot laner right now, so I'd imagine it goes there. And it sort of sets the tone, right? We talk a lot about proactivity. Ashe Arrow is one of the most proactive abilities, right? It's going to be one of these picks that goes in, and we'll see. We could see the Smolder.
It is.
Not exactly the proactivity we were seeing. Smolder, one of those picks that really likes to just sit back and scale for 20 minutes. So very interesting to see, given that both teams sort of, you know, the strength really was in when they got to control the pace of the game. But guess we're going back on the back foot for the Wolves, and we'll see. Maybe this is a little bit of comfort. Maybe they're like, it'll work out this time. But, you know, okay. And we are going to see the Ahri. So we are going to see still some productivity, some ways to get around this. And it looks like we're going to go with the Ahri. And I'd imagine we see an Ahri in something like maybe the Xinjiao, something to back it up, something really strong early on. And then use that Smolder to sort of shore up our late game damage. But
Whoa.
with the Fizz unbanned, the snap lock in there.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume that's Upop's like comfort
That
pick.
is, yeah, that is something that has been banned out quite a bit. The Upop Fizz, quite known. We're gonna see the Freljord bot lane with the Braum locked in, to sort of make sure that any engage that comes out is going to be a little bit harder to get off. And yeah, if you're the Wolves, you're thinking, oh boy, this is a rough core to fight into with comp that we've already drafted, right? We're gonna need some answers. We need a strong way to lock up this Fizz, right? Because if you can't lock down a Fizz and just burst him down, he'll get away. He's just so slippery. And it looks like the Maokai is gonna be an attempt to do just that. Go jungle, could go
Whoa.
support, could go top lane. So a little bit of flexibility going into the second round bans.
Yeah, I think now that you're picking that flex pick up, you're gonna ban some strong top picks. We see the York being hovered here. I'm assuming they're gonna pick their jungle or support, really freeing up low point. And let's see how Shrooms respond. I think these are two a little bit different play styles right now, which is so jarring to see, considering the previous two games we've had. But hey, game 3 on the line for the series. I say definitely play your hearts out. If you do see the Xin being banned.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. The Xin was one of those picks that, especially when you pair it with something like the Ahri, can be very, very dangerous, especially because you already have that Ash Arrow and you already have like the Fizz to Trump the Waters, right? Being able to just put up that Crescent Strike and say, actually, all of your abilities that are meant to be long-range engaged don't matter anymore. I can just walk up and tank it, press the Crescent Guard, and they do nothing.
Yeah, do you think, so seeing Worlds being played out previous few days, do you think we might see the Morgana support coming out or the Morgana jungles, considering how much CC and slows the side of Shrooms have?
Yeah, I definitely think that the Shrooms have a little bit more ways to round out this draft and just ways that they could do it. And I think the Wolves have kind of locked themselves in at this point because of that early Smolder into Ahri pick. I think that's very very much a sort of locked in draft. As I say that, they still might find ways to surprise us. This Shyvana, something that we've seen a bit of. Yeah, and we're gonna lock it in. Not very common. Not super synergistic, but it is one of those champions. If they're able to farm, if they are able to get an item, a good gank, if they're able to get some gold, it can be very hard to take out, especially if you don't have ways to do enough damage over, you know, that not really short period of time. You can't really burst her out, but if you take too long, she'll just melt your entire team because of her consistent damage. You need to have that perfect mix of CC and damage to make sure that she can't win in these fights. But with the Malphite unbanned, that's going to be immediately snapped up for the Shrooms. They want to commit to this engaged gameplay. They want to go all in here. And I imagine the jungler is going to be much more of
What do you think?
Probably a Bruiser. I think a Bruiser or a tank. So either
I
Kayn
think
or
Ivern or
Sejuani.
Kayn. Yeah. I think the Kayn might be coming out here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think the Ivern, but I could definitely see the Kayn, and it looks like it will just be the Kayn there. Bruiser was right. I'd imagine that we do see the red Kayn come out, given that the team comp that already exists could be blue,
Ooh.
but I think that's a bit risky. And the Wolves now see the Malphite,
Yes.
see all of these amazing ultimates, and they're in their minds they're going, "Oh boy, is that a Silas game for me?"
Oh, I think that's a good pick here, and they do lock it in.
They lock it in. So I'd imagine, given that we already have the Ahri locked in, we already have the Shyvana and the Maokai, there's a very high chance that this is a Silas top.
Yes.
In theory, it could be a Silas support. I highly doubt that.
Nah.
I don't think Silas into Ash Braum is a smart idea. I think just straight up going for that Silas top lane is a very interesting pick. I think you're a bit more susceptible to the ganks, especially from the Kayn. But I think that the way the Wolves are drafted give them a bit of leeway and a bit of space. I think the Shrooms have a very clear game plan. They want to go in, they want to dive you, they want to burst you, they want to make sure that, like game 1, that you cannot fight back. The Wolves say, okay, we're going to go for a little bit more of a well-rounded game plan, right? It's not going to be the same as last game where we're super aggressive, we're, really going in. But they do have so many ways to go in, right? They have that Maokai, they have the RA, they have that Silas who's able to steal a lot of these engage ultimates, and you have enough damage, right, with the Smolder, the Shyvana, and all this damage that you're not really worried about that RA, right? Something that we do see a lot of RA compositions do. They may pitch in a bunch of tanks, and they don't end up having that damage. Here, I don't think you're really worried about the damage.
Yeah, I think the only thing I worry about the Wolves is the previous 2 games have been paced by the team who gets ahead early. And if you look at these 2 comps, it's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit harder for the Wolves to get that early lead. Both the solo laners and the Silas and the Ahri will have lane pressure early on, but it's gonna be the flip side for the Ashe and the Braum. So it'll be interesting to see where these jungles kind of have their focus on. And I think if the Shrooms are ahead really early, they can end the game pretty quickly. But if they can't, the scaling of the Wolves is pretty good.
Yeah. I think it's going to be hard to really think what's going to happen, because I think a lot of these junglers that we see that clear so well and farm so well sometimes neglect gank and neglect their teammates for making sure that they can get ahead. And I think you're at a big risk, right? Because if you fail a gank, that's definitely a real possibility, because the enemy jungler can invade, can put you behind. And with that increased clear speed and you lacking it, you're going to be put just behind further and further as the game goes on. It's going to sort of snowball out of control. But if you get a successful gank, if you're able to accelerate, get that early item, then you're actually the one who's able to invade. You're the one who's able to take away those camps. And especially on a champion like Shyvana, who's able to farm so well and come to these dragons and show up and then get benefits from taking those dragons, I think can really snowball out of control if you're not crazy, if you're not putting a stop to that early.
Yeah, I think in that line of logic too, because Shyvana wants to farm well, I suspect that she would be farming from red to blue, given that her solo laners will be pushing. So it would actually no, she would go actually bot the top. So we'll see if that is the flow that she goes.
Yeah, well, we can theorize as much as we want about jungle pathing here, but we won't see until game. So for right now, we are going to cut it to a short break. When we come back, we'll be in game for our final match of the series. Don't go anywhere.
強く強く輝いて消えた流れ星ほら命が燃える何かに怯え走り続けたその虚しさの指示何を見て何を探してきた自分の声がただ響く幾千万の星の中で惹かれて出会った守り手たちよ回る回る時の輪の中で自分の弱さ強さの先に同じ空誰かが見上げてそう信じて消されない虹の奇跡が届けと冷たい指で涙拭ったあの君がもう帰れない
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 3 of our series, The Wolves versus the Shrooms in our Ruby Division. Winner takes all here. A lot on the line here. We saw both teams winning very, very handily in both of their games. It seemed to be that the team that sort of got that early advantage was able to use that proactivity, won, but we could see the Wolves actually going for a bit of a sort of rounded team comp. You know, a lot of aggression, but also a lot of defensive utility there. Meanwhile, the Shrooms, you can already see the Malphite, the Fizz, they got that air arrow. They definitely have their game plan. They want to go in. When they engage a fight, they want it to be over.
Yeah, we do see on the side of Shrooms, Buzzy Please electing to get Conquer, kind of pointing out to your earlier prediction of it being a red cane. We do see the Meteor also from Malphite going for a little bit more of an aggressive early game build. And really importantly too, this Smolder going the tier plus grasp route. So kind of going really putting all their eggs in that late game basket. And we'll see how the Shrooms can take advantage of that as we see both junglers starting on the bot side with the Kane starting, of course, with his Raptors.
Yeah. And I think the big one here is that with both players pathing towards top side, I think it's really going to come down to that early scuttle fight. I'd have to imagine, right? The clear is, I believe, relatively similar on these junglers early on. And especially with these mid laners, the way that they can aggress, right? The Fizz, I'm probably going to get a bit bullied in by this Ahri early. The Malphite as well going to be a bit bullied in. So I'd imagine that the Shyvana ends up with, you know, a little bit more of that priority early on. But I think it can really depend, right? I think that a lot of these lanes can be a little bit coin flippy. I think in the 1v1, I'd imagine that the Kane wins, especially given that the Shyvana went for this fleet footwork rune instead of a more fight-oriented rune. But, you know, you run that risk of getting collapsed on if you're just trying to 1v1 and you're not watching your so.
Yeah, I was actually hoping for this Ahri to go grasp. I see Ahri's going grasp and a rush on Malignant against melee users, so I was quite surprised that Ethereal went for Electrocute. Still powerful in its own right, for sure. And we do see both solo laners of the Wolves kind of pushing quite hard. And especially Upop here, actually, going against this Ahri.
Yeah, you can see Upop getting those early trades in, like we said, right? The Fizz can really jump in and get those early trades, but if Ahri's able to get a little bit of that extra trade space very well, then Fizz can get very, very low, and both going for TP, no Ignite, so there's not that insane kill threat, but, you know, you are worried. If your jungler comes in and you don't have your resources, you're probably forced to just flash out because of how much damage can come through in such a short amount of time. Meanwhile, Lil Poink going in that top side, a lot of damage on Sloppy Puma, who's forced to flash out and has no mana. Probably going to be forced to back and use that TP quite soon. You can see Bussy Please wants to go through that wall and land that gank. I think waiting just for the Sloppy Puma to TP back. Not even waiting for Sloppy Puma to TP back, just going in. Low point, dashing back in, not even using the flash out. Gets so much burst damage onto Pussy Please. Knows that his jungler is there to back him up if things go sideways. Nice dodge there from Oopbop, dodging out on those Foxfires with the E. Didn't even know you could do that, but it does make a lot of sense. And then dodging the Charm very well, but still Ethereal Ice able to land a good trade. And that's kind of the problem with those melee ranges, right? Is you can do everything well, but the problem is you just get chased out when you're leaving, right? Because the ranged user can just auto you, can just use these abilities, and you can't really trade back in without your cooldowns.
Yeah, we do see Ari backing here. Quite a large CS deficit compared to this Fizz, which is quite surprising for the range versus melee matchup. And I think because of that failed gank from Bussy Please, Trivana slight edge in jungle clearing, and we see that she does have the advantage for the bottom. Yep.
So, I'd imagine you just kite out, you just try and farm a lot here. And it is Sloppy Puma up CS, but Lil Poink is about to have that massive wave crash top, which should help him out quite a bit. Being able to get that TP out of Sloppy Puma and still surviving that gank from Bussy Please, I think is a massive upside there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then here in the bot side, it's kind of quiet, but the Smolder having a slight CS lead here. Happy with that, especially as they're weak really early on. And trade happening top side too. A little close for comfort as both top laners don't have. Oh no, just the Malphite not having.
No, Malphite already bird flash. Low Point just hit him on your
Okay.
Yeah, and
I would be careful.
You see here, Low Point goes in, uses that heal, gets one more auto reset very low, but is able to finish him off. And the heal from that Kingslayer is just so massive in this matchup, right? It really, the Malphite can poke you out as much as he wants, but if you're able to go and get that engage, it is so huge. And the biggest thing now is that that wave is pushing into Lil Point. Sloppy Puma is back with no TP, with no flash, with no wave. Lil Point up a level, gonna be able to steal the ult from that Malphite if he wants, and Malphite is gonna be so far behind at this point.
Yeah, not having to burn the TP either too. This Malphite's gonna struggle a little bit. Might ask the Kane for some help. I think if you were Lil Point, you kind of just ult right away. I feel like you actually have such a large advantage.
Yeah, just get the damage off. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Chum the Water hits Ethereal Ice. Zoopop goes in, lands the Electrocute, and finishes him off. Hit under tower. A tower shot takes him very low, but he's able to flash, try and use that playful Trickster. Finally forced to burn that Summoner, but Bussy Please Stone Kit Kat now in the mid lane. A really nice Q back from Nightion to make sure that they can't get in, but Oopop chases forward, looks for the Q and lands the kill. Stone Kit Kat with the Ignite and the Flash to make sure that his teammates get that. Discord Snuggles also forced to use that Flash to leave out. And yeah, Shrooms still doing very well. Double kill onto Oopop right now. You know, you thought the Wolves doing very well there to earn that early kill on the top side, but you know, answering right back. And the Fizz is definitely, if there's one champion in this game that you did not want getting ahead, it was the Fizz.
Oh, absolutely right. As we do see Low Point grabbing that Malphite ult, maybe helping contend the little grubs, but I don't think they are.
Yeah, I think Bussy Please saw him walking down without Malphite ult and just decided, you know what, nope, don't want to deal with this, don't want to even try.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the bot side, it's actually Macho doing quite well here into this Ashe, who really should be losing this matchup quite handily, but already up about 10 CS, going to be a little bit less now that wave's crashed in, but it looks like we're going to be just going Bound Axe. I'd imagine this is the Trinity Force Manamune builds that we've been seeing more and more of. You go the Trinity Force, the Manamune, you build then into like a Spear of Shojin, and you just have a lot of this on-hit sort of spell power on the cast, thanks to the shield.
You'll round it out with our RFC just for an extended rage on his Q.
Yeah, and some extra damage. Don't forget that Q does get extra damage off of the crit scaling. It can't critically strike, but it does get extra damage based on critical chance, sort of like Zaya's Feather Collar.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many stacks Smolder has. I think the good pacing is if you can get 225 at about 22 minutes, you're in a really good spot. So we'll see how much it has.
Yeah, and Low Point, you can see when that ult is running out, he just ult Sloppy Puma in the wave to get it shoved in.
Yeah. I think good pacing on the side of Shrooms so far. I think yeah, you're right with the Fizz being ahead 2-0. Makes both side lanes kind of well. should make both side lanes play a little bit more passively, but we see the Silence still bullying this Malphite quite handedly.
Yeah, I mean, Lil Point just going in, getting these electrocute procs, getting all of this in, and every time Slap Puma trades back, Lil Point can just go in, use that Kingslayer healing, get so much, and it looks like he's going for the Rod of Ages with that Catalyst. See Oopop going in to Tom the Waters there. Ari forced to use that ultimate just to get out.
Yeah, I think that's worth it on the side of Oopop.
Going in with that Unstoppable Force, getting a little bit of trade and extra tower shot onto Lil Point, but still not that big of a deal, right? You can always just use that Kingslayer E out if you really need to. But now in the mid lane, again from Discord Snuggles, you've turned into a dragon. The charm from Ethereal Ice is good, and Oopop won't be able to escape that one. Has already used the Playful Trickster, won't be able to get out, and it's Discord Snuggles picking up their first kill of the game.
Ooh, big return kill for Discord Snuggles. I think Oopop playing a little too aggressive there. I think that's a theme of this series too. Players thinking that they have the advantage of kind of playing aggressively, but in this case, results in a loss, as we do see this Frisky going in for this Maokai.
Yeah, Maokai just immediately locked in there. A really nice Enchanted Crystal Arrow there from Frisky MMO. They don't even need to use the Great Glacial Prison. They're just able to take 90 out before anything. You can see Macho called Mom. 90 tries to use that Nature's Grasp to get anything, but Macho steps up a bit too far, eats a slow from Kit Kat, and realizes that he has to flash out or risk being stunned and CC'd and killed.
Yeah, I don't think... because Macho has Cleanse, so I'm not sure why...
Well, the problem is if you get stunned, even if you cleanse it, you just get ulted by Stone Kit Kat and you're forced to flash anyway, right? So...
I guess so, yeah.
I think realizing that it's not worth it to use the cleanse there, because even if you cleanse that stun, you're just getting knocked. You're forced to use it anyway, so you might as well save one of the stuns. Meanwhile, on the top side, Lil Point has been pushing in all game, and finally his hubris has caught up to him. But he please now finally here, but has it caught up? Lil Point grabs the Umbral Trespass, looking for damage on Sloppy Puma, but he won't be able to ult in now. But please uses his Umbral Trespass to go in. Lil Point actually, who gets the damage out, was not expecting the burst on the smite from the Kayn. Actually hit the minion instead, and Lil Point out with his life, forcing Sloppy Puma to actually flash away there in the 2v1, and this Silas is going massive. Finally has that Catalyst of Aeons finished. Sorry, the Rod of Ages finished up, so going to be stacking that up soon. Given that it's about a minute, he should be able to get it quite early, right? That 20-minute fully stacked Rod of Ages is going to be very, very detrimental. Ethereal Ice, the nice little dodge there on Chum of the Waters. Yeah,
I mean, good on the side of Lil Point there. I think drawing a lot of attention from this Kayn. 2 straight ganks, resulting in no summoner spells down for Silas. And on the flip side, that gives Discord Snuggles the time and the freedom to really just keep on power farming. And now about to secure the 4th, 5th, 6th Void Grub for the Wolves, which is going to be huge for this Silas.
Yeah, and I think this is what we were talking about, right? Is both games, whoever got like that, early priority, tried to use that to snowball the game, ended up being super far ahead. Now you can see the ult coming out, a really nice friendly perfect cleanse there from Macho to make sure that he gets out. Oopop with no Chum the Waters means that he won't be able to follow up. Discord Snuggles for a possible gank in the top side, and just walking it out. Really nice there from Macho to fall all the way back, realizing that with no mid laner, he's at risk of getting dove. I believe Oopop also got spotted on the ward, so Macho did have to use the cleanse, but is out with his life, I think is really big. And I think we didn't see this in previous games, right? Both games were sort of very, very stompy early on. This game, games are a lot more even, right? So Shrooms aren't quite able to take that early advantage, use this comp in the way they want. And Smolder is just stacking very, very well. Siobhan is able to scale on this farming jungler very, very well. So it's a little bit of dangerous territory for the Shrooms.
Yeah, it's that game 3 debuff where people are less likely to commit to aggressive plays. We're seeing both teams kind of playing passively. Well, rather less active as before. I think one thing to note too, I think Oopop would have been able to kill this Smolder if not having to use ult earlier in the lane.
Yeah, went for the kill on Ethereal Ice and didn't get it. Now punished for it. I've already used the Playful Trickster, already used the Flash. Flash Flower from Discord Snuggles, but Stone Kit Kat is there. The Guardian and the shield saving Oopop there. Almost going down, but was forced to use the ultimate, was forced to use the Flash there, and had just used the TP. So this is going to be a massive difference, and it should be a dragon for the Wolves. Says Ocean, but it's not. It's actually the Chemtech Drake that we are seeing spawn here. It has been, what, 3.5 years, and they still have not fixed that Spectator.
Yeah, we'll see too with the death of this Chem Ticker. We'll see Bussy Please will steal it, and it is.
Oh! A nice arrow there. Stuns up Discord. Snuggles goes in. Bussy Please able to get the steal. Now the Umbral Trespass going out, picking up the first kill. Now Macho trying to find Stone Kit Kat, get their first kill of the fight, and they do, but the stun up might just be a little bit too much. Ubach goes in and finds that kill, a double kill for the Kane, but Lil Poink is here with the TP, able to find the damage out now, chasing down Bussy Please. So far, it is a 3-for-2 for Skimmo, and Bussy Please leave with their lives. But it is the dragon over to the Shrooms thanks to that steal. And with 2 dragons now and losing that fight, the Wolves suddenly were at a 1k gold advantage, are actually still, you know, a bit in the gold lead by about 100 gold, but it is much more evened up. And with the objectives evened out now, the objectives in favor of the Shrooms, you're at a bit more of a dangerous position, right? You really need to fight this third drag now, no matter how the game state pans out. Which is not what you wanted. You really want to get the early dragons on the Shyvana because of her passive.
Exactly, and I think too with Smolder on your team, you kind of want to extend the game as well. So getting those early drigs would extend the game a little bit, so the Shrooms wouldn't get priority over so early. It is going to be a Mountain Soul, which is going to be super important for both of these teams, because I think they do have quite a lot of burst on either side, and having that padded shield and defensive stats would help a lot in preventing an assassination for sure.
Yeah, and I think the big play here is that engage from Upop when Smolder was stunned up. Able to get so much damage onto 2 people at once means that they were able to secure so much. Now a little bit of over-aggression here from the Wolves. Nidion goes down, Chum the Waters hits Lil Poink, and an engage now from Bussy Please. Etherealize goes over the wall with the Spirit Rush, tries to find one. They're able to find Bussy Please before he's able to. Lil Poink finally going into that Umbral Trespass, stole the Kane ultimate. Discord Snuggles in the middle of 3, getting absolutely melted, and Lil Poink can do nothing but get run down now that Frisky MMO has arrived to the fight with that Blade of the Ruin King. Use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to make sure to find that smite, and will take it out. Bussy Please goes down, but 2 down on the Wolves for their troubles. 2 flashes as well, and it's going to be the Shrooms that take full control of this Rift Herald, and they should be able to get it. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Macho just deciding, I'm not going to show up to these fights. You know, Frisky might be level 9, I'm already level 10, I'm already getting all of this CS. And it kind of feels like a mid lane Smolder, right? At this point, same level as your mid laner. You're just pushing out these side lanes, getting this CS, getting these stacks onto Smolder, getting these towers down. And that's really, really important. And I wonder actually if we can get a quick stack check on the Smolder. 120. Oh, that's close. 125 is your first real breakpoint. For the extra little bit of flames behind your Q. The first breakpoint really is at 25 when. But getting that extra is going to allow you to clear the wave, so.
Yeah, and it's also huge in stacking, because I feel like the stack potential towards the 225 gets much faster once you're able to hit beyond the creeps. It's a little bit easier to hit enemy champs while farming as well. But still, the Wolves still ahead by a few hundred gold, mostly because that Smolder was getting the tower and getting some minion the bot side while all the fights were happening on the top side.
And an important thing to note here is that a lot of the advantage right now is actually onto Upop. Right, pretty even in that bot side, all things considered. Jungle, you know, a little bit in favor, I'd say, or actually, I don't know, but I think a bit in favor of Bussy Please. But, you know, the extra CS on Discord Snuggles makes sure that the gold isn't actually that crazy far away. A big advantage right on the Wolves, though, for their top side. Onto the Silas is really big, has that Rod of Ages, and then you can see the engage coming out. Bussy Please flashing forward to maybe find that Umbral Trespass, finally going under tower. Lil Poink use the Unstoppable Force to get out, but it won't be enough. Dive under tower, 2 flashes though on the top side to get him out. The Unstoppable Force and the Umbral Trespass used from Bussy Please to take him out, and he only had to use his ultimate, right? Didn't have to use flash there, so even though he does go down, he is still going to have the flash for that next fight, and given that it's that that Soul Point, I think that's a really big deal.
Yeah, we do see the Fizz ulting right before the Dragon is spawning, although I do see that the ult timer is quite low. Should be maybe back up for this Drake fight, which would be super pivotal for the Shrooms.
Yeah, and I think the Silas should still have the Commandeer here for the fight, but he won't be able to take Malphite's cooldown, I think, which is going to be really important. Malphite should have the cooldown after the dragon spawns, but I don't think we'll have it at the start of the engage. So I think this is really anyone's fight here, given the way the gold is sort of set up. And if they can delay an extra couple seconds, you know, an extra like 30, 40 seconds, they will also have that Rod of Ages leveled for Silas. So I think you maybe just wait on that. See, maybe you see if you can get that extra level, because I think that's also going to be a big deal.
For your Silas, who do you... Okay, well, that answers my
I think
question.
it's very obvious. Yeah,
Your hand was the Ashel.
It's very important there. Ticking down, you can see still there. Bussy Please just trying to get the vision, but it is the Wolves with full control. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow over the wall, and finally Mom gets called to jump over the wall, and it's Bussy Please that steals the dragon once again, but will go down for it. But on the backside of the fight, Nidian goes down for the Wolves. The Shrooms trying to fight it out, but Discord Snuggles just takes so much damage. Macho trying to fire back onto the Shrooms, but they drop the Rift Herald in the mid lane while this is happening, just hitting at the mid tower. Now Upa finally goes in, looking onto Ethereal Ice, but it is going to be Ethereal that gets the kill. Macho with the damage, looking for more. Triple kill now for Ethereal Ice, and for Scammo forced to run for the hills. They lose the dragon, but they win the fight. I still don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, a great steal from Bussy Please again. Although they did steal the dragon, Bussy died quite fast. I don't think could have ult there and kind of made this fight super lopsided. But still, one Drake away from Soul, which is gonna be super helpful in the next big team fight.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for the Wolves here on losing that is that you don't just need priority. You don't just need to win a dragon fight anymore. You need to kill Bussy, because it's always going to be in the back of your mind, right? Is he
the mental game.
Is he just over that wall? Is he going to be able to steal it this time, right? And if you're not sure, if you're not able to take him out, you're always at risk of just losing that soul, of losing that Baron to a smite steal. And, it is still a gold lead for the Wolves, even though it is a kill deficit and a dragon deficit, because of all the towers and the CS advantages that they have been getting. So they can still always win these fights like they did in that last one, but it's really hard because especially if you're able to pick up that soul, all these close fights suddenly aren't as close anymore, right? That dragon soul is going to help so much.
Yeah, we'll see how fast the next big fight is. Upop did have to burn the Seeker's Arm Guard there, so he doesn't have stasis for the next big fight unless Zanyas is completed. We do have the 10 stack Rod of Ages for Silas, and we're getting closer and closer to the next breakpoint, because I think last time it was at 170, 180 stacks the last time it was shown. And so we're about to hit that burn territory.
Yeah, and I think the big one, we're at 188 now, so yeah, so getting pretty close. I think the big thing too is the triple kill onto Ethereal there, who was 1-1 and 2 before the fight, is really massive, right? Able to not only finish, they already had that finished Malignance, right? But she's also able to get now building into Zanya's. So she has the Seeker's Arm Guard for stasis if she wants it. Upop has also finished the Zanya's, so he will also have the stasis. But being able to build into that Zanya's, get the Seeker's Arm Guard as well as the Needlessly Large Rod means you can force a fight here with the stasis and then immediately back and get that Zanya's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I guess it just depends on what objective they're going to play for next. Baron is up. It's still another 2 minutes for the next Mountain Drake. Lots of walking around, trying to figure out if they can get an opening. No one committing yet to any hard engage, as they do see 4 members of the Shrooms kind of hovering around the top side here. Tense game. I think both teams are slowing it down. The pace did pick up when a lot of these objectives were up. We'll see who makes the first move. Ari and Fizz just jostling for bot presence here, and the 4 members of Shrooms still just walking around in circles mid lane, waiting for, I guess they're all waiting for the Mountain Drake to spawn.
Yeah, and it seems like both teams sort of posturing around mid right now, sort of sending people to side lanes just to make sure that no one can really get an advantage there. But with the drag up in an extra minute and both teams up not really willing to fight around Baron, it looks like they both just want to make sure that they have this priority on Soul, right? The Wolves need to have priority because they need to be able to pull it out, get a fight, stop Bussy from getting the steal, or win the fight beforehand, right? Yeah, meanwhile, if you're the Shrooms, if you can't get priority, if you can't fight around it, you can either go for the steal or you can just go for the Baron and trade it. Because the Wolves will never be able to contest you. They need to get this dragon. They need to stop the Soul.
Yeah, and as you say this, Ari and Spawner have backed, and as they're gonna probably head towards drag. kind of surprised that the Wolves kind of gave up mid prio so easily. Mid tower down.
Well, you can see the Ari backed to make sure that she gets that Zanya's, which is really big, and Small just backing for a tunneler and some health, so very clearly just wants to be a bit tankier in this fight, and I'd imagine that's because he's so close. If we can get a stack check, I'd imagine should probably have 225 or close to it at this point, right?
He did go top to get some form up there, so I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see during the fight if the enemy team does have those executes.
Little markers on them, yeah.
Yeah.
Dragon up now. Both teams still fighting. It's going to be Shrooms walking into the river first. You can see Nightion just hanging out of vision, throwing down these saplings over and over again, knowing that he can back up, get that the nature's grasp. And if you can get that from a nice far distance without Braum being able to sort of block it for the rest of the team, those roots last a very long time. You're able to get CC on the Ashe or onto Upop. It can be very dangerous for them. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out and a nice immediate cleanse there from Macho. And that's a big cooldown that the Shrooms do not have anymore. The Silas has the TP but isn't back quite yet. Can always just work into this fight. Looks like Bussy Please has actually started the Dragon now under the Wolves. They see it though. They need to fight their way in.
Yeah.
Now going in.
Upop also went in.
Yeah, Ethereal Ice. They're in the pit now. Slap Puma can always go over the wall. Dash forward from Little Point. Not using that unstoppable force yet. Just fighting over the wall. Trying to get this dragon low. Finally, the vision taken out, so they don't have vision anymore. And you can see the Wolves just buying as much time as possible. Trying to reset that dragon now. Macho going back to
They're walking to Baron. They're walking to Baron.
And see, and it looks like the call might just be in to trade this out, knowing that they can't win the fight anymore. And they're just going to have Discord Snuggles and Lil Poink duo that dragon. Meanwhile, the Shrooms started a Baron, and they're walking up now. Nightion, Macho, and Ethereal all going in. You can see Upop over the wall. Does use the Chum the Waters to force back Nightion. But it's going to be the dragon taken out for the Wolves. They see now with the Mom that it's
225
not that
stacks.
low. He does have the execute. Only 8k on that Baron. It is going down so slowly. The flashback for Macho to dodge out on anything. Nightion goes forward. And the Unstoppable Force goes in. The engage now from the Wolves. They're able to finish out that first kill. Upop goes in, but dies for his trouble. Slappy Puma now on the backline trying to find a little bit of something. 2 down for 2 down. 1 in. Now it's just 2v2 left alive. Ethereal Ice trying to go over the wall, but doesn't land it. Flash forward, trying to find Bussy Please, but it won't be enough for Scamamo and Bussy running for their lives. And it is Macho and Ethereal Ice who come out victorious. The Shrooms were not able to secure the Baron. They were not able to secure the Dragon. That Smolder is now at 225 stacks, and it is the Wolves' game to lose.
Wow, what an amazing re-engage there from the side of Wolves, seeing that the Fizz missed their ult, and the Silas coming in the nick of time for the amazing Flash Malphite ult. Really took them by surprise. I think Ashe living there was huge for the side of Shrooms. Could have been a little bit more lopsided, but ultimately a big win for the Wolves. Prevents the Baron, gets that first Drake, preventing the Soul, and just giving even more time for this Smolder to get stacks.
Yeah. And I think the big thing here, now that the Smolder has those 3 item spikes, it's really hard because you need to get on the Smolder. The Smolder will always be able to win the extended fights if it takes long enough, right? And while you have the damage, right, it's not as important that the rest of your damage dealers don't do as much because you have multiple threats, right? If you do manage to use everything and finally take out the Smolder, you're still worried because Discord Snuggles does damage, Little Point does damage, Ethereal Eyes does damage. These are all people you still need to worry about if you're resourceless and if you used everything on that Smolder. So you have to sort of stagger your resources, making sure that you're fighting in a way that uses them efficiently to try and grab multiple people, right? The Unstoppable Force can hit multiple. The Chum the Waters, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow can burst one person. The Glacial Fissure can get multiple people. So you sort of need to layer those in such a way that you're not just using it all at once.
I agree, especially because the Smolder has Grasp too. It makes it a little bit tankier during these big fights.
Yeah. Discord Snuggles, all the way on the back, but can always use that ult over the wall if he needs to. The Nature's Grasp onto 2, but they don't actually want to engage. Little Poink dashing forward, always threatening now that he has that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Always try and find a pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think this Ari is playing a good role as a little bit of a support pick. I think during that last fight was really sticking with the smolder, making sure that that smolder isn't collapsed upon, and
Yeah.
that cleanse from the smolder
And
coming
you can
back up now.
Yeah, you can see with the items too, right? Already has the Zanya's going for now a Banshee's Veil. Don't get me wrong, doing very big damage now that those items actually do give a significant amount of AP, but sort of playing a bit buddy-buddy with the Smolder, right? Rather than being a dive friend for Little Point or Discord Symbols, if they're able to stick on the backline with that Smolder, they're able to, use that charm, put out an extra bit of damage to make sure that they can get to that execute breakpoint. It's sort of support in the form of damage, right? They can't kill you if they're dead.
Yep.
So if Boopop and Bussy dive in, and the Ari is there to land the charm and all that damage, and Macho is able to land as much damage as well, before they can even get the kill, they're already dead, right? It's not really a peel in the form of raw CC, it's the peel in the form of death.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting way to play, but definitely has been working out for them so far.
yeah, and it seems to me that again we are gonna wait and have a little bit of a pause here, as they do collect themselves for this next Drake in about minute 10, minute 9. We do see the enchanted crystal arrow just moseying its way towards the top side.
And something really important to note, while we don't have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow anymore, the timer should have rotated long enough that Silas is able to take that Unstoppable Force again, which is going
Yes.
to be a huge ultimate for the Wolves.
Yep, and I don't know what the specific timers are for the both 80 carries. Flash is kind of gonna be up maybe for this Drake, but that's also important to watch. A lot of these flash timers are actually kind of coinciding with this Drake reset, so we'll see how that affects the big team fight. Maokai getting that reset for more wards. Braum already there, clearing out vision. Fizz is in the top side without teleport. Well, so we should see Upal kind of walking down now.
And you can see Little Point going over to catch that wave. Does have the TP. They don't have any good
Yeah.
flank wards though, right? So it will be
No.
sort of a defensive if they want to walk in. You can see Nightion, Macho, and Discord walking in to clear the vision now. Ethereal Ice hanging on the backside, and Nightion engaged upon by that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Use the Nature's Grasp and the Twisted Advance to try and buy a little bit of time, but the Mom is cancelled by the shield. Now, the engage there, the Unstoppable Force, the
Oh,
Police Person,
no.
and the Dumb the Waters all onto the Smolder at once is going to be enough, but Little Point goes in, uses that Unstoppable Force onto 4 people, and gets so much damage for it. Lots of low health bars now, but Discord Snuggles is now out of the dragon form. Ethereal Ice has already used the Spirit Rush, and that's not going to be a fight that they can win. With Buzzy at least still alive, with Smite, they have to maybe go for a steal, try and find something, maybe flash in if they're able to, but now the vision comes out. You can see stun not up. Ethereal Ice trying to zone them off. Discord Snuggles running at Oopop, not going to go for the Smite fight, seeing if they can get anything on the backside of the fight, but Oopop just jumps out with that playful trickster, does not want to risk dying on the end of it, and it's going to be Shrooms with the fight and the soul.
Yeah, that early death onto Nightion really just set the tone of that fight. And I think because the Silas was topside and not with the team, it gave the green light for the Shrooms to really just collapse and just go hard and obtain that Dragon Soul. As we do see next, the Baron being the focal point of the big fight.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing to think about here is that with that soul, again, a lot of these fights have been really, really close. But now it's going to be a lot harder to kill and finish off those kills onto the Shrooms, right? They have about a Q, maybe a little bit less, a Smolder Q worth of shield now. So that's going to be just an extra bit of cooldown that you need to meld, as well as that extra resistance is going to be a lot harder to deal with. You can see Stone Kit Kat also going for that Elixir of Iron. They really want to fight around this Baron. The Wolves do as well. They realize that they are going to need something to try and get back into this game, right? Because Discord Snuggles, because of those Smite steals early on, and because of losing that Dragon, your Shyvana is also behind, right? Shyvana is a champion, or as a lot of those resistance scale off just getting the Dragons, and without them, you're a lot weaker as a champion.
Yeah, as we do see Slavy Puma by himself pushing bot lane.
Hiding in the bush, I think just waiting for a TP there.
Yeah, is there a good ward? Oh, top
There
side.
it is. Now, looking at the engage, Sloppy Puma goes in, lands a knock-up on it too. but the pullback from Discord Snuggles. Macho still alive. Ethereal Ice trying to protect for his team. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits one. Lil Point onto the backside trying to defend Macho now, but he's jumped on by Bussy. Please use the Umbral Trespass and is just in a little too deep. Now going to finally get turned on by the rest of the Wolves who are chasing him down, and that's what you gotta call a breakfast. Sloppy Puma goes in, but the Chum in the Waters has never been used, and it was Macho who's actually steps a bit too far forward this time. Lil Point and Discord Snuggles now both very low and forced to back off. Oopop Frisky still not the healthiest, but can still definitely fight. When Ethereal Ice not having that Spirit's Rush anymore to be able to find that Ash, they don't really have a way to fight this out, and the ADC of the Wolves just stepping a little bit too far forward, not realizing that his team wasn't backing him up anymore, and conceding this Baron prio.
Yeah, I think if Macho didn't die there, then it would have been a very lopsided win for the Wolves. But that really prevented the Wolves from getting Baron, especially with Bussy Please down. It was prime time for a Baron kill. But unfortunately, Oopop, it was Oopop's ult, right, that caught Macho there.
Yeah, that was the Chum in the Waters there, caught him out. And I think it went off and killed, but also the slow, I think, was really just enough to let the Shroom catch up to him.
100%.
I don't think the damage was even necessary. They would have died no matter what.
No.
Even using the flash there didn't matter. And I think that's really dangerous, right? Is that you don't have that for the Baron. Neither team was able to secure the Baron. And Elder is up in 230, so there is a chance that that's just the next objective and neither team goes for the Baron, but still pretty risky.
Yeah, and lots of summoners burned there too. I think importantly, the bot side of Shrooms have all their summoners, so they have a slight advantage in terms of like forcing these fights. Seems like everyone's just taking a little bit of a breather, kind of waiting, getting some gold on the side lanes as possible. Yeah, wow, it's been pretty tense, and these fights are pretty close. Shrooms are up by 500. I think this might be the first time they're up in this game, really.
Yeah. And I think something important to note, right, is even though Macho keeps scaling, keeps getting ahead on the Smolder, Frisky Mo is not a slouch either when it comes to damage, right? You kind of imagine Ash as a low damage character, but isn't going for that PD bill, right? Going for the Bork, getting the Terminus, getting the Runans, making sure that they can spread this out. It's going to make them very strong, as well. They do have the Kayn, who's finally on that 3-item spike, the Sterix and the Black Cleaver. Means they actually do quite a bit. They're able to sustain quite a bit. And obviously you can never forget about Oopop, right? On the back of that fight. Had never used the ult, had just held it waiting for the perfect moment.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's actually funny to see on the side of the Wolves 3 Zhonya's at the top side of this map. I think if you were the Shrooms, you see this, I think you kind of take advantage of that. There's gonna be some disharmony, but when those Zhonyas are up and used, it kind of creates a slight advantage for the Shrooms, and I'm hoping that the Wolves kind of understand that.
Yeah, if they're able to move in when those Zhonyas all get used, especially if they can get all the Zhonyas used at once, right?
Yes.
Then you can just sort of move up as you collapse. If they're staggered, it's a little bit harder, but yeah, it can definitely create a little bit of disadvantage. And you can see the Wolves really cannot trade this Elder for Baron, because even though the Baron's strong, the Shrooms can always just engage a fight with this Soul, with this Elder, and just end the game if they really want to. Nidion already down, taking 40% of his health bar there, just from a quick little Fizz trade.
Yeah, they have to be careful. This is where Nidion was caught out before. They have to be extra careful walking in here.
Low Point does steal that Unstoppable Force, though. That's going to be a
yeah. A little tense game as both teams are kind of skirting around this brush, waiting for the first move to happen. It's going to be an ultimate. We don't know who or what will cause this catalyst, which might end up being the game-winning fight, really.
Yeah, for Skimmo, you can see just holding back, waiting. See if he can find a target with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Maybe trying to wait out the timer on the Sylas, seeing if he has to use that Unstoppable Force. It is ticking down. It does last quite a while, but if they're able to buy the time where this Sylas runs out of the ultimate, it's going to be really... Ethereal Ice caught out on the top side, forced to use that Spirit Rush, but finally the engage on the bot side going in. Macho manages to find it. The Umbral Trespass goes in, the knockup comes out, Mom gets called in. Multiple unstoppable forces used, trying to find a little bit of damage, but it is an absolute mosh pit over there, and it's the Shrooms coming out with the advantage. The speakers are loud, the Zanyas comes out from Lil Poink, and it's Risky MMO, 1v1ing Macho in the top side, manages to finish it off. It's just Lil Poink, he's able to take one before going down, but it won't matter. Oopop will be the sacrificial lamb, but it is the Shrooms that win the fight. They're pushing down the mid lane. And with the timers as high as they are, that might just be an Ethereal Ice, 25 seconds, Nidion, 10 seconds, but it is Frisky MMO, 10-0-9, a perfect game so far on this Ashe, who's able to take these towers, take these fight, and just be such a massive force, and it is exactly what you wanted when we were talking about in draft, right? The Shrooms, if they're able to get these sort of mosh pit, you know, bloodbath, really rough and tumble style fights, they just win them so well.
Yeah, it looks like they're going away from the inhib so that they have the time to go against this Elder. Ari and Malka are both up. Silas does have teleport. Discord Snuggles just came back up. Macho, 5 more seconds. But the Elder is about 40% done. Will he walk up in time?
Trying to get wards, get vision for the Silas, and he will finally TP in. He's TPing into multiples. Lil Poink going forward, trying to find something. It's going to be Nidion taken out at the start of this fight. Frisky MMO trying to burn it a little bit.
No.
And this layered means Lil Poink isn't going to be able to get that Glacial Fissure off either. Ethereal Ice. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow does blow the Banshee's Veil, but he won't go down. The Elder now ticking down lower and lower. Finally is off. Ethereal Ice manages to dodge out on that knockup, so won't go down. But it is a double kill. The Wolves desperately trying to stop that Elder, but it wasn't enough. Now the Shrooms with the Elder turn their eyes towards the Baron. I'd imagine they try and grab this reset and just run it down mid, try and end the game there.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of miscommunication on the side of the Wolves. Silas teleporting in there, but only with Nidion there with him. A little difficult to kind of go against 2v4, especially right there without Malphite ult to steal. And it's an easy Baron call for the Shrooms.
Yeah, the Shrooms just in a massive advantage right now, right? And it was very back and forth for the rest of this game. But now, after 40 minutes, the Shrooms finally have the resources that they feel that they need. Want to go for this death march. You can see the GA on the Ashe as well. Really does not want to lose that perfect score.
Dang.
They, I don't even think it's optimal. I just think they want the perfect game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the Wolves need to recognize this last fight and the fight before. One of the big reasons why they were losing is because I know we were commending the Ahri for supporting this Smolder, but I think they're supporting the Smolder a little bit too much because they're giving Ashe the time to just damage, free hit everyone. I think someone needs to go disrupt this Ashe because there's no cleanse from Ashe, there's no Mikhails from Braum. So what's stopping a Shyvana and a Silas from really just attacking this Ashe? Although, at this point, Ashe does have Guardian Angel.
Yeah, so it definitely becomes a little bit stronger. And yeah, you're right, the CC is there, but I think you might be able to just survive through it, right? You have the Locket, you have the Guardian, you have Braum being able to put up that shield, meaning that Ethereal Ice and Macho aren't really able to follow up. And you have Sloppy Puma as well, and all the knockups that are able to defend you, right? So it's really hard, especially with the Mountain Soul, to actually get this dive off. And you can see they don't want to go for the Death March just yet. They want to get as much as they can, just pushing into this bot side, getting that mid lane down, waiting for the supers to push in, and they want to try and overwhelm the Wolves. They don't want to take that risk.
Yeah. And it looks like they are retreating.
Yeah, the Chum of the Waters went out from Oopop, did not find anyone, so they probably just want to wait for that cooldown to come back up. You can see them pinging the top side now, looking to maybe get that tower, really get everything in, and I'm wondering actually if we can get a spectator check to see how long that Baron has left. Not even 3/4 of the way done yet, so we're approaching the end, but it's not that close. They don't have the Elder anymore. And that's, I think, a really important thing to note, is you don't have that anymore. Now the Nature's Grasp comes forward. The Mom as well gets cancelled by Stone Kit Kat.
Yeah, it looks like they're just trying to phase the wave here. Yeah. Trying their best.
Seeing if they can maybe defend tower here, take out a little bit. Ethereal Ice in the mid lane, trying to get the wave taken out as well. Pushing forward now, Stone Kit Kat's very low. Discord Snuggles hit by the Chum the Waters. It's a little point as well on the edge, but won't be able to kill anyone.
It's
Looks
too
like the
tough.
Shrooms are just forced to back off.
Yeah, shields are back up really quickly for the Shrooms because of this Mountain Soul.
Yeah. I think the big thing here, though, if you're the Wolves, is that you are able to defend from this onslaught, right? And that the objectives are staggered. They're not on top of each other, which means that you have a solid 45 second-ish timer where that Elder Dragon is up and the Baron isn't. Which means that you can't just try and force a trade or force something, right? If you're the Shrooms, you need to try and be at the objective because you can't force a trade, right? You can't say, okay, you can go get that Elder, we're going to go get the Baron. And now that we have 3 supers, we're just going to, make sure that you can't kill us because we have all of these waves. And no matter what, we're always going to be in an advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
The Zephyr finished as well for the Ashe, so now we're truly full build. We are 6 items on the ADC.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as the game continues on, we're gonna get less and less of a item disparity as we kind of fill out these inventories here. Modified, maybe a component away from finalizing his last item. Same with the Silas. No, actually, Silas going for the moat here, so I'm expecting the healing penetration item coming out from him. Looks like Shrooms electing to go topside here, maybe to get that last inhib, although Silas might be...
Oh no, Little Point caught out in the topside. Sloppy Puma just going forward with that unstoppable force. Sees his opening. The stun now onto Nightion with that enchanted crystal arrow. Mom gets called, but it won't be enough. Macho kiting back. An amazing knockup from Pussy Please with that Death Razor. Can see Discord Snuggles jumping back. Tries to get the damage off. Goes into Zanya's as well. And it is Ethereal Ice. Once again, the only one left alive to watch this death march. The Shrooms are pushing in now. And it is all over but the Nexus. Ethereal Ice looking to try and find something, a charm, throwing out their spells, seeing if they can find a little bit of damage to try and defend it, but it's Pussy Please zoning them off. And an amazing catch there from Sloppy Puma, recognizing that he was caught out, recognizing that Lil Poink was dead. It is the Shrooms with the Nexus and the Shrooms with the series.
Yeah, great game on the side of Shrooms. It was really a close game for the most part. I think this was like a 45-minute banger. I think the first 30 to 35 minutes, they were a little bit behind, but not so much. And ultimately, I think a couple big fights really just went lopsided for the side of Shrooms.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing there was all those early steals. I think if you don't get those dragon steals, the game can turn out much differently. Siobhan is able to get those extra resistances. They're able to stack. The Wolves were just forced into a tough situation every time. And, as much as I got to shout out those steals, I think some of that was also on more of a fault of Discord Snuggles rather than an amazing play from Pussy. Because he also got caught out, going over the wall every time. Amazing plays from everyone. But I think I really need to shout out Frisky MMO in this game. Playing that Ashe to perfection. Amazing enchanted crystal arrows. I think in almost every fight we're able to find amazing picks. Never going down. Always pumping out the damage. Always being that consistent threat. Was just so important for the Shrooms.
Yeah, it's funny that it does end up being that the first pick from the blue side is really like the game changer in this series. In this case, the Ashe. I think at least I was a little surprised with the Ashe blind pick there, but it worked so perfectly for the Shrooms. And you're right, I think those early Drake steals really hindered the progress that the Wolves could have pushed for. They were always a little bit step behind later in the game because of the miscues. And I mean, even though they lost, it was quite a wonderful game to watch. It was so close. It had a lot of big fights, and it's all that you could ask for as a spectator.
Definitely. Well, congratulations to the Shrooms for winning that one. I think putting a lot of those doubters thinking they were more of a middle of the pack team, in their place, realizing that they really are a force to be reckoned with. And I think really surpassing a lot of people's expectations.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think kudos to the Wolves as well for putting up a good fight. But I think I'm excited to see what strategies that other teams might employ against the Shrooms. seeing how this game kind of evolved throughout the series. I'm wondering, as we approach the midseason and beyond, I think people and teams are starting to get a little bit better idea of how players are playing. So we'll see what happens. But I quite like that the Fizz pick here. I really like going all in on the comfort and like going in for what they think is the winning team comp.
Yeah, definitely. Well, congratulations once again to the Shrooms. Hopefully the Wolves will be able to pull it back in the next couple weeks, right? I mean, they came out with a good showing, but you know, after this one, I definitely have some questions. As for the Shrooms, keep doing well, maybe don't keep doing everything you were doing, but keep the good parts, right? Keep that proactivity that you were able to get in game one. This is something I mentioned. Frisky MMO was definitely a highlight of this team. Very consistently, and I think all their matches, and I think it's definitely going to be a player to watch out for going into the season and beyond. But as for right now, those have been our matches. Congratulations to the Shrooms. I have been Noctisera. With me in the booth has been Manatsu Plays, and of course Wookie Monster as our producer. Thank you all for watching, and have a very good night.
Peace.